It's the Infinite Podcast. Go tell your friends. It's the Infinite Podcast. My God, it never ends. It's the Infinite Podcast with Rob and Court the Kid.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Project Infinite Podcast, the podcast covering the infinite and ever-expanding multiverse of fandom for movies, comics, TV shows, video games. We got you covered. I'm Rob. I'm here, as always, with Court. And Court, speaking of multiverses and universes, we're here to eulogize one of the...
OG universes,
yeah.
One of the OG multiverses.
Yeah, the Arrowverse officially coming to an end after 10 years with The Flash Season 9 wrapping up. So... we did a Arrow episode a long time ago now at this point. And yeah, so we're going to talk about The Flash, obviously the Grant Gustin iteration, specifically because, it's crazy that this has been around for 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to you about this, that I remember when this show came out and how excited I was when this came out. It just was a staple of like my whole older childhood into my early adulthood. Like Grant Gustin it was like him and Charlie Cox's Daredevil were like my favorite TV show characters for the longest while, and this show was just it was holding attention. Like this show was like at that point the most peak of superhero television you can ask for. And I mean, we're going to talk about it, but I think season 1, 2, and 3, all three of those seasons are pretty solid in terms of the standard. It's got, it's got the camp, it's got the cheese, but I don't think it ever portrayed, one of the most important aspects, and that's Grant Gustin's portrayal as Barry Allen. And one thing, I'm doing a big rewatch of the whole show. The biggest thing that's kind of shined through is how, in my opinion, how phenomenal Grant Gustin is as Barry Allen, and he really embodies every aspect of that character. Yeah,
I mean, there's a reason why, in the wake of all the Ezra Miller stuff that was happening a few months ago, that people at large were like, just use Grant Gustin. A lot of people felt he had the acting chops to carry over to a film, and obviously, I mean, that hasn't happened. But we'll dive into him and everything about that show. But first, we do have some news, starting with, it seems like we have a Fantastic Four.
Yep.
Not officially, but rumors are kind of confirming that we do indeed have our Fantastic Four, which we've talked about a couple times over the past couple of weeks, that this cast seems to be the cast. So, right. Adam Driver as Reed Richards, Margot Robbie as Sue Storm, Paul Mescal as Johnny Storm, and Daveed Diggs from Hamilton fame as Ben Grimm. And I think that's as good a group as you can get. Like I said, not a group I was expecting. I definitely thought they were going to lean into kind of like an relative unknown direction, but they just decided to go with definitely two A-list actors in Margot Robbie and Adam Driver. Paul Mescal, who's kind of on the rise, and Daveed Diggs, who is also on the rise. Right. So I kind of like that split, where they have Reed and Sue as these kind of established A-list, face of the poster actors, and then you get these other two that are kind of on the rise. I think that's a smart way to do it. So, what are your thoughts on this potential cast?
I think in terms of the acting ability of this cast, I think that's the biggest draw for me right now, is that you're grabbing two Oscar nominees out of the gate to play, your two titular characters in Reed and Sue, and then you're getting new Oscar nominee Paul Mescal, and then you're getting somebody that's worked on the stage for a while and now is in film and television. And I mean, if you saw Blind Spotting, this guy can really act. Daveed Diggs, I like this for. I mean, the only thing that I told you that I'm gonna have to see, and maybe it's because I've had my sample size of Paul Mescal's work has always have left me depressed, I guess, at this point. That's the only one that I was a little antsy about. Not the fact, because I've spoken about how I think that Paul Mescal is an incredible actor on the rise. However, not looking at that, that's an incredible four. That's a Fantastic Four.
Yeah, it's really, like I said, it was totally, I didn't expect it. Like, I didn't expect them to just go, like, we're just going to get who we can get. And, you know, like I told you before when we talked about the Adam Driver thing, it really makes me feel like they're really going to go for, to make, I think they're going to make Doom and Reed kind of their version of what Fox did with Magneto and Xavier. And they're going to get these two, I think whoever they cast as Doom is going to be an equal kind of acting chops person, to get opposite Adam Driver. Like that really feels like what that's going to be.
I mean, I know who I want, and that's Cillian Murphy.
That would be that'd be outstanding.
Even to go further into the specifics, you know, I look at Adam Driver and I think, man, that's an outstanding choice to play Reed Richards, and it's just Adam Driver can play this like closed off, this guy that's always inventing, like, I mean, it's essentially what I think that DC is going to do with, you know, a couple of the runs. You just kind of do what Jeff Johns did. I think that Marvel should do the same thing as what Jonathan Hickman did. So you take that whole thing. Like, I fully believe that this version of Reed Richards is the guy that's like, I'm going to solve everything. Like, I'm going to solve the problem that is everything that's ever happened. So I can definitely see them taking that route. I mean, I talked to you before this about this idea that, like, it feels like they're gonna try to make like a film, like an actual like movie, like an actual film, instead of just something, you know, where they just need to get it out to get it out. Like, it feels like there might be some care. The only thing I'll say about that too is maybe I wonder if they're going to switch the position of the Fantastic Four and not have that movie come out before Secret Wars, and I kind of hope they do, and just hold that movie until 2027, just so, like, this is the new thing. It's going to be the X-Men, and it's going to be the Fantastic, and we're going to go, like, how the 60s and 70s and 80s were, like, the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, they're the main characters. I think that would be a great idea. I mean, Margot Robbie, as that was the one that was like the new one that I was super excited about, was just like, I think she's also gonna, like, you need, like, that's two A-list actors to lead your franchise. I think this is also gonna be a tell to how they cast the X-Men now, because to your point, I think they were gonna probably go, you know, maybe some unknowns, but now I genuinely think they might get some, like, heavy hitters to play, you know, Cyclops and Storm, and maybe, you know, I still agree that I think Wolverine would be a good one to get somebody that's a little lesser known, but, like, you know, your Cyclops, Storm, Angel, Beast, like, I think that, like, original five, I think they're gonna be all maybe B to A-list actors, so.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends ultimately at the end of the day, you know, what they want to do with the X-Men, because I think what the rumor is with this Fantastic Four movie is they were already gonna be, like, around. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like a new, like, they're not just getting their powers.
No, yeah, right.
So it does make sense that they're good, that they're kind of like these established actors, whereas, like, we still don't really know what they're going to do with the X-Men, as far as, are they going to be around, or are they all going to be people that are just recently getting their powers? I think that's going to dictate what they do as far as casting. I think the story of what they want to do with the X-Men is going to depend on that, as far as that's going to tell you what they do with the casting.
Well, I had my theory that's going to blow up when it becomes true, and my huge theory is that this Fantastic Four team was active in the 60s, and then they were like, you know, the end of whatever their movie's gonna, like, I still think that's a great idea. You have this movie take place in the 60s, like the prime Fantastic Four, 1963, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and then have them get, you know, we're gonna go traverse the universe now, like, we're gonna leave Earth, and then whatever the antics that happens with Kang, like, they come back not aged a day, like, they're still the same team, or they get locked in time, whatever it may be. And like I said, like, what was my theory? That, like, they come back and, like, it's the 2012 time, like, it's when the Avengers are starting and the Fantastic Four are there, and the whole thing is Kang's like, I can't have Reed Richards running around, like, I need to keep him alive, because if he's not alive, I'm never going to be born in the first place. So I think that would be an interesting idea. But yeah, I'm all in on this four. I think they have the potential to have, like, them be, like, you know, leave them for, like, 10 to 12 years. Like, that's your Fantastic Four up until, like, into the 2030s. Like, just have them be the main characters of this whole thing. The only other thing with Paul Mescal, it's, like, it's the interaction with Tom Holland. That's why I like the guy from Outer Banks. I think he would have played the perfect Johnny Storm, but, I mean, I think they were worried about getting incredible actors first, so.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get these guys, you get them. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, like, if they're, you know, you don't get too cute with it. Like, this is who you're targeting, and if you're able to get them, then yeah, get them. So that's really cool. Tying into more Secret Wars future stuff, rumors swirling that Sam Raimi is now being tapped to potentially direct Secret Wars with Michael Waldron writing. This comes off of the news that Jeff Loveness, who wrote Ant-Man Quantumania, will not now be writing Kang Dynasty. So there's definitely some shuffling going on with these Avengers movies, which, I mean, I'm not surprised. Again, when we talked about them announcing this stuff so far in advance, like, it's tough because things are going to change, things are going to be received well, things are going to be not received well, and
some people might get in trouble.
Some people might get in trouble, and I think that's kind of bearing out. It goes to show that how pleased they apparently are with Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, that they would tap Sam Raimi to do Secret Wars. I think that would be...
I just think they want something that's a little bit more stylized. Also, I think they probably want somebody that has been around a little bit longer. Like, I still think, in terms of the action of Shang-Chi, like, Daniel Destin Cretton is perfect for Kang Dynasty, but you're going to need a heavy lift. And, like, I think the original plan was probably going to be for James Gunn to be the one that probably might have done it, but he was already gone, and, like, he's already leading a whole studio and probably going to direct a Superman. Like, that's too much to ask. And I don't see anybody outside the Russo brothers being somebody you give a call to, like, you know, helm this thing. But, like, who else do you have? You have a guy that was holding the superhero genre on his back with Bryan Singer essentially for a while there in the late 2000s. So I'm not surprised at all. Like, at first I was like, oh wow, and then I thought about it. I was like, yeah, if they were gonna get somebody at this point, like, you probably want to get a guy that, you know, it's probably somebody that's like, they just have seen it. They've been around the superhero genre since 2000, since the late 90s of early development, like 99 all the way until 2002 when this movie came out. Like, this Sam Raimi's been around the block a couple times. I think someone
who injected a lot of difference in the MCU. I think that's one of the things that not just us, but a lot of people have said about Multiverse of Madness, that despite, you know, some narrative flaws, like the style is so different and so unique that that's what you need nowadays.
And what was one of the biggest, you know, compliments to Guardians of the Galaxy 3? It was the fact that, like, again, it feels like an actual movie instead of just like, because Thor, Love and Thunder, and Ant-Man feel like things that were like auto-generated to get made, versus like Guardians of the Galaxy 3, like, even, you know, like we always say, you cut out the Illuminati part of Doctor Strange, like, I still think that's a pretty solid movie. So, with style. So I think that's something that they want. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I know a lot of people are kind of eyebrow raising at the Michael Waldron piece, but for those of you who may not be aware of what happened with Multiverse of Madness, Michael Waldron was a very late addition to the script writing, because that script was gonna get thrown out, and they basically tapped Michael Waldron with like a few weeks notice to rewrite the movie essentially before it started shooting. And the fact that he was able to write what he wrote in a handful of weeks is actually impressive.
Yeah, and I'm gonna die on the hill that said, you know, I guarantee you Kevin Feige walked in his office just like, you put this in the movie, and he's just like, I wasn't asking if you thought it fit, like, put it in the movie. And I promise you that's where that Illuminati scene came from.
Yeah, because, I mean, you can go back and listen to the Multiverse of Madness. That it really does feel like a handbrake, like hard stop from the rest of the movie. It's pretty nuts.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's a great choice. I think Sam Raimi, I like this redemption arc.
Yeah, it's insane
that he's on.
They're gonna get back together. Him and Toby are gonna.
He was out of the superhero loop for almost 20 years, and he comes back with Multiverse of Madness, does a really great job, and now could potentially be directing an Avengers movie. Which would be awesome. That'd be cool for him.
Yeah, if it's not him, I think. And now this also goes to a huge question about Kang Dynasty, and it goes back to the Jonathan Majors thing, but I don't know what that movie's gonna look like. And I mean, to your point exactly, this is what happens when, you know, you predicate this one person upon being the greatest thing to ever, like, Thanos was like a CG, like, at the end of the day, it's like somebody you could have replaced, and it's still, you know,
they did replace him. They had another guy in the Avengers post-credit scene.
Right. Like, if you replaced Josh Brolin, it wouldn't have been that, like, this is like an actor. Like, this is like you saying, like, Chris Evans is done as Captain America, and now we're going to get somebody, like, people are going to notice this. Like,
not just an actor, but like an actor playing a character that exists across time.
But it's like a nexus, so it's the same person across all time. Now you're going to have to explain why he's probably going to look different and be played by John Boyega, hopefully. Like I said, if Yahya Abdul-Mateen wasn't playing Wonder Man, he would have been the perfect person to replace him as Kang. He's just got, like, that physique and, like, that suave nature to be like, I own this thing. Like, I am time.
But, I mean, at the same... I mean, I hate to say this, but it's a movie studio and they're corporate, so... Maybe they're just waiting for this whole thing to blow over.
I thought about that the other day. I was just
we saw DC and Warner Brothers just do it.
Yep.
So it's not, I wouldn't put it past Marvel to just wait until you absolutely have to make a move. Whether that's him serving jail time or whatever the case is, but like, I wouldn't put it past them to just wait. Is
my first conspiracy theory, I think, was right, that that Disney made the pandemic so they can extend it to 2023. My joking one. My very serious one is that they're gonna have to wait this out, but that's why the writer's strike is going on. They prompted the writer's strike to make sure they got as much time to deal with this situation.
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't put it past them because that's their movie studio, and that's what movie studios do, especially when they are putting so much time when they're putting so much time and effort into establishing this person as this character. Like, you don't want to go back to the drawing board. So I don't know. We'll get a lot of answers in a couple months when Loki comes out. I think.
Yeah. Yep.
I think ultimately that's what's going to happen. Is we'll know more then whether or not they're going ahead with Jonathan Majors or not. Right. Because I think that's going to dictate a lot of the things. And then the last thing we talked about last week was the big PlayStation showcase. It wasn't quite as big, I think, as some people thought it was going to be, but it was still impressive. Yeah, I mean,
so what I realized, because I had, like, the live stream of, like, the comments going, and I was just, there was people like, where's GTA 6? And I was like, this is a PlayStation showcase. I don't think some people understand what that exactly means, that this is only, Sony PlayStation products being shown, but I guess that's difficult for some people to understand.
Well, I mean, this is a plague of expectations that we talk about repeatedly on this podcast. Yep. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't as big as I guess some people were expecting. But I mean, some cool stuff still got announced.
Yeah, there was some things in there that got announced.
Yeah. So
I wonder if they showed anything cool.
They sure did. Just a couple things I wanted to highlight. Dragon's Dogma 2 got shown off, which is super cool. Dragon's Dogma is kind of like a cult classic JRPG. So Dragon's Dogma 2 got announced a few months ago with just like a title card, basically. So then we got a better look at that. Assassin's Creed Mirage got shown off. And it looks like it's going to be a return to form for Assassin's Creed as far as getting back kind of like to the stealth mechanic of the series. I know I didn't play a ton of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but it got basically Assassin's Creed from Origins on has taken on this RPG kind of focus where like big map, big traversal, leveling up your character, leveling up your gear. So it seems like Mirage is going to get back to it's going back to the Middle East, which is cool. A return to the Middle East for the first time since, I think, Assassin's Creed 1. I don't think we've gone back to the Middle East since Assassin's Creed 1, so I think that's really cool. A game that neither of us had heard of, but upon seeing the trailer are very excited for, which is, I guess, the point of these PlayStation showcases. So Phantom Blade Zero, don't really know much about it other than it looks very cool. It looks kind of in that third-person action kind of Souls-like, and also crossed with like Devil May Cry chaos.
But with the character designs of Final Fantasy?
Yeah, it's very stylized, isn't it? Yeah. It's very
anime.
It's anime because it has like the bones of like obviously like feudal Japan, but also technology. There's also like big technology and big battle sequences. So that game looks very cool. So yeah, I don't know, man.
I'm in. I'm in. Just that little sequence when the main character was just running through those mystical beings with this. So I was like, what is going on? This is incredible. Like, I was like, there's something very special about the first Ghost of Tsushima trailer. I don't think anything's gonna touch that as like a game I've never heard of that they announced it. I'm like, what is this glorious thing that I'm looking at? But I think, and go testament to Ghost of Tsushima, because that's like, now it's a litmus test is Ghost of Tsushima now for like the modern age. But yeah, isn't that the beauty of gaming and stories, of like those things that just like, the Creator trailer just came out last week and everybody's like, what the heck is this thing? This doesn't have a Marvel or DC or Star Wars logo. And then you watch the trailer, you're like, I'm in. Like, some things that you're in, like that was one of those things.
Yeah, that's ultimately what an event like this is for, is to, obviously you get the big things that people are expecting and are aware of, but it's also a good opportunity for these things that maybe people aren't aware of to get, because, you're getting hundreds of thousands of people watching these things,
right.
So that's why I think maybe for a lot of people this showcase kind of disappointed, because it showed off a lot of stuff that we wouldn't have heard of otherwise. Right. But I think this is a good chance to slide that stuff in.
Well, look, this is what people wanted. People wanted The Last of Us 3. People wanted Ghost of Tsushima 2. People wanted Spider-Man 2. We've got Final Fantasy 16. That's like you said, it's expectation versus reality. Like, people just wanted every game, like the third Horizon game, like they just wanted every game. Like, that's unrealistic. Like, Ghost of Tsushima came out in 2020. Yeah. Like, God of War Ragnarok finished last year, like came out last year. Like, these games we're not announcing all of these games all at once. Like, that just takes all of them. Is like, they wanted just the full out Wolverine like, right. Need a little time.
Yeah. But
it made the last reveal so much sweeter.
Yeah. Before we get to the last thing, Metal Gear 3 is getting remade.
That was another big one.
Metal Gear Delta, Snake Eater is getting released alongside re-releases of the first 3 Metal Gear games are going to be coming to PlayStation Network, which is cool. I mean, that's, before any of these other franchises, God of War, Uncharted, this was the staple of PlayStation's stable early on, was Metal Gear, which is super cool that Metal Gear 3 is getting remade. Definitely opens the door for future Metal Gear remakes in the future. That was one of those things where you're like, oh, that's legitimately awesome. And then, I mean, just a bunch of other kind of small market things, which, again,
talk about Destiny.
Yeah. Bungie released their next foray into gaming, finally getting off of Destiny with another Destiny. No, I'm kidding. I forget what the name of that game was that they showed off.
Yeah. That was like their other, like, this is going to be kind of secret right now, but this game could be potentially pretty big.
Yeah, it's their first new game since Destiny 2, and obviously, it's called Marathon, is what it's called. Which makes sense.
They're doing Cyberpunk, but space.
Yeah, which, I mean, when all the studio acquisitions were happening, a lot of people looked at Sony's acquisition of Bungie, which is like, whoa, because Bungie was the original developers of Halo. So, I mean, for Sony to basically get one of Microsoft's original developers under their umbrella was a big deal. Destiny 2, I'm out of the Destiny loop. I don't play it anymore, but still super popular. Yeah. A lot of freaking people play Destiny. So, and Bungie continues to be kind of at the forefront of multiplayer shooters. So, makes sense that they're coming out with another one of those. And then, the last thing that they showed off, which you knew this was coming, Pete. So Insomniac unveiled in full, much like they did a few years ago with the first game.
That was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
It's insane that they did that. I remember because it was the Fist Tower mission. I was like, holy crap, we're getting Spider-Man. Like, this is nuts.
Very similar setup with the Spider-Man 2 reveal.
Was it, though?
Not at first.
So I was watching the live stream and I had like the comments on, and everybody, and then the head of whatever studio, I forget who the heck
PlayStation
it
Studios,
was.
yeah, Jim Ryan,
Yeah. So the guy was there and he's just like, "Thank you so much for coming," and everybody's like, "There's no way that we don't get any Wolverine or any Spider-Man or any Last of Us or nothing, right?" And then he's just like, "Oh, he did the Martian Manhunter at the end of the Snyder Cut. Oh, and one more thing." So screen cuts to black. See this guy walking through the jungle, and like I didn't realize like how like built that guy was, and I was just like, "Is this The Last of Us? Are they gonna announce 3?" Abby's been lifting even more. And then he's walking through the woods, and I was like, "Is this like a Predator game? Like that's kind of cool." And then next thing you know, he gets choked out, and then you see the little vest with the fur, and I was like, "You're Kraven the Hunter from Marvel Comics." Holy crap.
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Okay, cool. Kraven's there." Kraven's basically just like, you're weak, bro. I need some competition. And then, "Sir, I know we're in this very jungle area of the world right now, but what if we went to New York City?" They should have just started playing Theme from New York from Frank Sinatra when they did that. That would have been much funnier. But yeah, he's just like, light the fires. We're going. Road trip. We're going to New York.
And then the camera pans up and you're like,
"That's it. That's it."
That's all you're getting.
And then it said 6 months later, and I was like, okay. And then you find out that Kraven's guys are just running the streets of New York. And you're like, this isn't good.
Yeah, so I mean, essentially, what happens here is they just did what they did with the first game. Was like, we're just going to show you a big sequence.
Yeah, exactly. The first game was just beat up a whole bunch of faceless NPC henchmen of Kingpin. Cool. And then you do that little sequence where you save everything.
Yeah, with the crane, and you're like, holy
this
moly.
game, yeah, wow. And you're like, there's no way they can up that for like a reveal. And then Peter Parker jumps out of, his basement in his house, and he's Venom. And I was like, he's got the symbiote suit, and I was like, holy, like, I could not believe that they did it. I did not think they were going to do it. I had a feeling, I thought when the last game ended and then we got like the first like look at this game or whatever time last year.
That cursed image.
Oh my God. Leave me alone.
Of Peter and Miles looking.
Yeah. I thought that it was gonna be a teaser for the third game, that he was gonna get the symbiote after they were done. Nope, absolutely not. He is Venom. He's symbiote Peter now. He's got the suit. Yuri Lowenthal's about to put up an all-time gaming performance.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Yuri Lowenthal, before Spider-Man, most notable for voicing Sasuke in Naruto. So he's very familiar with voicing edgelord kind of darker characters. Yep. So he jumped right into that darker tone immediately.
Kraven wants a hunt. I'll give him one he'll never forget. I said, "Uh-oh,
yeah,
these villains are in trouble. This is not good."
So yeah, we got a first look at the gameplay. It looks sharp.
Oh yeah, it looks sharp. The HUD's different. The HUD's upgraded. A couple other things you can tell off the bat. The map's been expanded. Now they're in Queens in this map, so you're in. I think they bust right out of Peter's house basically in that little sequence too. So I think that's a little nice touch. And it makes sense that because Aunt May sadly passed away in the last game. R.I.P. Aunt May.
Yep.
That he probably took her house, so that's where he's living now, because he can't live with 16-year-old Miles and his mom forever. And yeah, so map scene's expanded. They're probably going to add Harlem, and they're going to add that. Probably some other stuff, which I think is really cool too. But yeah, so that happens. The Venom gameplay is nuts. It's crazy. I can't wait to see how it works. Like if you can switch on and off between using the symbiote and not using the symbiote, whatever it's gonna look like. But yeah, Peter's there. He's just like, crap, I can't get to the place fast enough. Screen flips and it just says switch to Miles. I'm like, is this Grand Theft Auto 5? This is crazy.
Yeah, so everybody, you knew this was coming.
You knew this was coming. Mm-hmm.
The switch mechanic between Miles and Peter in full display, it's dang near instantaneous. Mm-hmm. There's no load screen or anything like that. You press the button, boom, you're Miles Morales. And he flies now?
They fly now.
Yeah, so we get...
glider. So the glider's added in. Awesome. So cool. So you get the glider added into it. And then he's just like, Miles is at the fish market, at the fish warehouse.
Stealth mission.
Yeah, who are they chasing?
The Lizard.
The Lizard. You're Kurt Connors from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies.
It's one of my favorite things about this Insomniac universe, that like these characters are just built into the bones of the lore and the story, and we can just have the Lizard. Mm-hmm. Like, we talked about him a bunch in the first game in little lore pickups and optional things, and here he is. You just know he's out there.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we're pursuing the Lizard. We do. Insomniac was very proud of their instant kind of indoor-outdoor transitions. Yep. So we get more of that with Miles. We do the stealth sequence. You can create your own web walk. Your own
which is awesome.
Perch, which is nice.
It's gonna make the stealth stuff so much easier too. But Miles seems like he's got a bit of an upgrade. He's just fully realizing his powers, is what it seems like now. His lightning's blue. Mm-hmm. Does this have to do with the Flash movie? I wonder if Michael Keaton's going to be in this game. Can't rule it out.
Can't rule it out.
Can't rule it out, man. So yeah, they're chasing after the lizard.
Big lizard.
Big lizard. Yeah. Peter just busts right through the roof of the place, and you're just like, wait, dude,
looking very evil when he drops down, and the symbiote's like all like enveloping him, and Miles is like, hey man,
we probably shouldn't do that.
New suit.
Yep. Lizard breaks out, and it's set piece time, man.
Yeah, we get to the big Uncharted set piece.
Incredible. It looks amazing.
It looks incredible.
It looks really good. The gameplay just looks super clean, super sharp.
You're switching between Peter and Miles.
Right.
Doing different things.
Yep.
There's a jet skiing sequence.
Yeah. If you thought the car sequences were cool in Spider-Man, nah, they said that, but water now. It's crazy.
It looks amazing. Like, it's truly just mind blowing to look at. I love this era that we're in.
Yeah, that this is just
where things can look like this.
Right. So yeah, shenanigans ensue. But you can tell Peter's gone. Like, he's far gone, and all these things. Like, he saves a guy and just throws him on the ground, and Miles is like, "Huh? What are you doing? See you, chump."
He's getting agitated at Miles.
Yeah. He's just like, "What are you guys doing?" He's just like, Miles is like, "Hey man,
amateurs." But I mean, Peter's still in there. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he works with Miles. Like, Miles is like, alley-oop maneuver on 3. 1, 2, 3, alley-oop.
Peter's like, fine, I'll do it.
explodes a helicopter.
Mm-hmm. Craven's just there having fun.
Yeah, Craven's just there.
This is like a vacation for Craven. He's just like, he's just chilling. It's like going to Disney World, but it's New York.
Yeah. Lizard escapes. Mm-hmm. Miles is like, we got to go after him. Peter's like, I got this.
Yeah.
You sure about that, Pete? He's got big teeth. So do I. I'm
in.
Peter swings away, and Genki's like, is he always like that? And Miles is like, he's never like that. Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
No release date.
Fall 2023.
I think it's probably going to be October.
I was thinking either September or October.
But man, it was impressive.
Impressive is an understatement. I think that was just watching all like the gamers' reactions. Like, this has Game of the Year potential. I know Zelda's, the strong fight right now, but I just think this game's gonna release in like October. Like, if this game releases in October, the Game Awards are in December. I think it's gonna have every prerequisite it needs to be the Game of the Year this year too. So it's got the gamers on their side. It's got the story. The universe is incredible for this Spider-Man game. What's my wish list? I think we agreed that Green Goblin's probably going to be the villain of this game. They're going to do the Doc Ock thing again, where it's like Kraven's going to be Martin Lee. Who else we got?
Venom.
Venom is going to be basically who's the other villain?
In this one?
Or in the first one, it was just a rogue type of situation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Shocker.
Right, yeah.
Kingpin. Shocker! They have the opportunity to do the most hilarious thing.
So I've been playing through the first game. I hope he just fights Shocker as Venom. And, like, I hope that's a running gag that you have to have, like, a Rick the Door Technician X fight against Shocker every single game. That'd be incredible.
You can't escape from me. Shocker!
So yeah, I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
They have to do some type of Raimiism, right? With the black suit? Because they did the train sequence in the last game.
I don't even have a shadow of doubt they're gonna do it. They're gonna do something with something. They're gonna have to.
A little bit of this.
Get on up. Yep, they gotta do it. So Green Goblin's going to be the villain. I think Harry's going to be the one that ends up being Venom in this universe. Is going to be Harry Osborn. I think either Miles' mother's going to die or Aunt May or Mary Jane's going to die in this one. That would really set Peter off if Mary Jane's the one that dies.
Especially if he's the impetus.
Yeah. Ooh, I would love a little callback to Gwen. I wonder if they're going to do it, because
we don't have a Gwen Stacy in this universe.
That we know of. Maybe she's been dead for some time.
Yeah.
So that would be an interesting one. Here's my big one. I really want there to be a scenario where, like, this is the crux of the game, and, like, you know, Peter's, like, he's almost completely gone, and it's like, choose, Zeus! And it's like, choose, and you choose Miles or you choose Peter, and that's it. And that's the end of the game. Like, Miles versus Peter, very Ellie versus Abby inspired.
On some Mass Effect... This will have ramifications in future games. That would be crazy. I don't think they're going to do that. I do think that it's going to be a Miles versus Peter fight.
Somewhere in there.
Probably in the middle. You're going to be Miles and you're going to fight Peter. And that's what's going to get rid of the symbiote off of Peter.
Ooh, what if the electro powers can...
Well, that's the big fan theory, because in the logo reveal, they do the symbiote thing, and then it's like be greater together, and the... blue lightning comes in and zaps away like the symbiote. So I think that's what's going to be kind of the impetus. And then who knows where the symbiote goes from there. I think it is going to end up with Harry Osborn, because we know that Tony Todd is voicing Venom.
You're right.
So that's not going to be, unless they do that and Peter does become Venom for a bit.
I hope that's not the case. I just hope it's like, because if Venom's this great threat, I just think you would need Peter and Miles to be the one that beat him. So it's either going to be him. I don't know if you take the shot and you put Eddie Brock in this game and you find a way to get the symbiote to him, but like that's why I think it's easier. You just make it Harry, and then it's like Peter's old best friend versus his new best friend.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, that's why I like this Insomniac universe. I like that they can just do whatever they want with the lore.
Yeah.
Like, they're not...
It's the greatest hits of the Spider-Man comics.
Because I know, like, one of the hits. Kind of like the haters basically say about this Insomniac universe, like, how can he be Spider-Man for so long but have there not be a Green Goblin? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, now there's a Green Goblin now.
It doesn't matter. Like, It doesn't matter at what point he encounters these characters.
Right.
You know, that's what I like about it.
Yeah, Gwen Stacy could have died a completely different way.
Or he just never met her.
We never met her here, yeah.
Like, that's why I like that, you know, games like this, games like Guardians of the Galaxy, games like Midnight Suns, take these existing characters and their lore, and they're just like, let's just pick and choose what we want to do with them. Like, we don't have to adhere to... Because what's the fun of predictability? You know what I mean? Where's the fun?
Whatever happened to predictability?
Yeah.
Milkman, the Paperboy, Eamon TV.
Yeah. I mean, where's the fun in that? Where's the fun in knowing, like,
exactly
what's going to happen to which character?
That's the beauty of the adaptation.
Yeah. Like, we don't know what's going to happen with Venom because we haven't seen Eddie Brock, but we know he exists in this universe. But we know that now we know Peter has the symbiote. So who knows? Yeah. That's the cool part. Right. And like the Green Goblin thing, we can presume that he's going to be in it, but we don't know.
Ooh, what if they do Kraven's Last Hunt for like the last part of the game, and you play as Kraven?
Ooh,
that would be kind of interesting. They're not going to do it, but that would be kind of crazy.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah,
man, there's so many cool things. Yeah. There's so many cool things.
Like I said, this is like a glorified Spider-Man comic from like the 63 to now. Like, it's just everything that's kind of encompassed. Like I said, like. We were talking about what the third game could possibly... They could do whatever they want. If they want to go nuts, you want to get nuts? You could truthfully do the web of, the web of shadow. Like, you could do Madam Web and it would be nuts. But,
Spider-Man 2099?
Yeah, you can do Spider-Man 2099. You could do... I mean, I told you my plausible one that I could very well see them doing for a third game is the Clone Saga for the third game. If there's a scenario where Peter dies in this, and then he just comes back, and Miles is just like, "How you back, Pete? I'm actually the Scarlet Spider. I'm actually not Peter Parker."
Yeah, that's the cool thing about this universe is they can literally do anything they want. Like, they can just pick and choose different Spider-Man storylines and adapt them into their weird little Insomniac world. Right. I mean, we do know we're going to see this version of Spider-Man in Across the Spider-Verse in some capacity. There's a short clip of him chasing Miles throughout the city. Watch out for that triangle circle button, Miles.
100%, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I would like to say we're going to see more of this game before October, but I don't think we will.
Nope.
I think they're going to be
showed everything that they needed to.
That's it. Yeah, I wish more game studios did this.
Yep. I think this is to protect this story, because I think this story, and it's just me playing this, play through the first game. The story is so intricate, it's insane, it's so expansive, and I think this game's gonna be double, like 2 times that. So I think they're trying to protect whatever this may be. Like, I feel like the third act of this game is gonna be on like that God of War Ragnarok, like just this all-time third act of this game.
Yeah.
I mean, Jedi Survivor also has an incredible thing. Like, I think it's going to be like that. Like, this, you can't get it spoiled because of what happens in the second act of this game type of thing.
Right. Yeah. Super excited for that. That being said, let's talk about The Flash.
So Ezra Miller showed up. Nope.
We're going to talk about
John Wesley Shipp in 1990.
Well,
played The Flash.
Well, kind of, sort of, yeah.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah, man. So basically, the story of this version of Barry Allen starts in Arrow, season 2 or 3. 2? 2, yeah.
Yep.
Jesus. So yeah, we get Barry Allen, Grant Gustin's portrayal of Barry Allen in Arrow season 2 shows up in a part of a two-parter episode.
It's called The Scientist, right?
Yeah. And this is when a lot of eyebrows got raised.
And this is something so I want you to talk about this, because I didn't watch Arrow out of the gate. You watched Arrow out of the gate. I watched Arrow actually when the crossover started. I went to Netflix, watched season 1 and season 2, and then I was just made sure I was just, ever since that first crossover episode, I was just watching Arrow straight through. So I want you to talk about this appearance of Barry Allen, because
it's really, it's flooring. Like when he first introduces himself and he's like, "I'm Barry Allen," you're like, "What?"
Yeah, Barry Allen from DC Comics.
And at the time, I mean, Arrow was this super grounded, kind of in reality show that didn't have ties to any other Marvel or DC stuff. Obviously, season 2 leans into Deathstroke, but as far as people with powers, there wasn't that. And then this episode happens, and at the end of the episode, Barry goes back to Central City and he's struck by lightning. If you know comics, and The Flash, he becomes The Flash.
He what?
He becomes The Flash in that moment. But I mean, the crazy thing was, like, back 2011, 2012, like, the internet is like, the rumor mill isn't as prominent as it was it is now.
I feel like I watch movies before they come out nowadays.
Yeah, so he gets struck by lightning at the end of that episode, and you're like, are they doing The Flash? Are we going to get a spin-off of Arrow?
So let me ask you this question: did it feel like they were going to put The Flash in Arrow, or did you kind of have a feeling they were going to give
a setup
for his own show?
Because in the second, I think it's the second part of the episode, we're introduced to Carlos Valdez and Daniel Panabaker
right, yep,
as Caitlin and Cisco. So the bones were there. And
where are they from? Star Labs.
Yeah. So he gets struck by lightning at the end of the episode, and you're like, huh? Are we gonna do The Flash as a TV show? And then lo and behold, yeah, we are. So we get the season premiere of The Flash, becomes the second most watched pilot in the history of the CW, behind The Vampire Diaries. October 7th, 2014 is the pilot.
The day after my birthday. I remember very vividly, because I was like, this is a great birthday present. Yeah,
and we get it won the People's Choice Award for favorite new TV drama in 2014, and it's a run from there. Goes on to outlast Arrow as the longest running of these Arrowverse CW shows. It, alongside Arrow, helps spins off Legends of Tomorrow. It brings Supergirl into the fold. I mean, we talked about this when we talked about the Arrow episode. This universe, the CW Arrowverse, does not get enough credit for its ambition and what it was able to do for comic book media. Not just comic book TV, but comic book media in general.
Yeah. And I also want to think about where Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was at that point, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was the other battle you had to fight, and it wasn't really even a battle because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't know what type of show it wanted to be. The Flash out of the gate knew what type of show it was. So I will give them credit to that. And then Arrow, and another great thing is these other shows, it's not really a bleed into the other ones, but they all played off each other. Like, it was very understanding of what the other shows were doing. And I mean, those come through the crossovers, but we'll get to the crossovers in a second because I think most of them are pretty freaking cool. So
yeah, the crossovers are stellar, but I mean, when you talk about just great seasons of TV, the first season of The Flash is stellar.
Yeah. So Barry Allen, we pick up Kid Barry Allen running away. Well, he gives his monologue because they all have to give a monologue in the beginning. And like now that monologue is just super iconic at this point. Like, to understand what I'm about to say, you have to believe in the impossible. I will believe in the impossible, Barry Allen. You've got me to believe in the impossible. So yeah, he picks up. He's a small kid. Getting picked on for standing up for the right thing. My beautiful boy, man. I was in season 2 when that bit hit, when he's on Earth 2. I was like, come on, man, gonna make me cry, man. But yeah, we pick up Barry's a CSI for the Central City Police Department. With Papa Joe West.
Yeah, Jesse L. Martin from Law and Order fame.
So Robert Queen is a horrible father. I don't think we've stressed that enough. How I think the CW verse, the Arrowverse, understood how bad of a father that Robert Queen was. They we need a good dad. We need a win, not his murderous father, Henry Allen. Yeah, Jesse L. Martin's great, big man, just incredible dad energy. Every spot imaginable, he's great. So yeah, Barry's just down on his luck, in love with his sister?
Oh, don't. We're not going down.
What's worse? Is it Dig having a relationship with his deceased brother's wife who has a child, which is his uncle, or which is his nephew? Or is it... No, it's Dig. It's not even close.
Because Barry and Iris aren't actually siblings.
And, they were, he was 11? It's not like they were,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were friends. It's a real friends to lovers sitch.
Right, yeah.
Which is fine.
And it's different because Joe's just, his father figure.
Yeah. Because his actual dad's alive.
And a murderer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He's also the 90s Flash.
He is the 90s Flash. And that means Grant Gustin is going to be he's going to be the Flash in about 15 years. He'll be another person's Flash. It's great. It's a great cycle that we live.
That's one of my favorite things about what the CW verse does is it pays homage to
everything. Everything. It did the DCEU. It did everything. So yeah, Barry's in his lab one day. Cue the Arrow theme because Arrow, they just cut the same scene in there. Arrow goes in there, the lightning bolt goes in there.
The arrow
goes in. Oh, that would have been much better if he got shot by a lightning arrow from the Spectre Oliver Queen, and that's how he became the Flash. It's a closed loop. We're gonna have to talk. Ooh, I can't wait till we talk about season 3. Because now we get to get our theory. This has been a running thing since 2016, right? Yeah. So about 7 years, 6 years, 7 years. We've been dying off this theory of which one came first. We'll get there.
He gets struck by lightning. He wakes up. Lady Gaga's playing.
A year later.
Because the CW pilot, and they're like, music budget.
Yeah, music, but we got a little budget. Black Lightning actually used the entire budget to use their music budget, but we'll talk. Black Lightning we'll save for another day.
Yeah, we get introduced to your core team. Mm-hmm. So I talked about Cisco and Caitlin. They're great.
Yeah.
They're great as the kind of side characters.
Yeah.
With pasts.
They're Barry's Felicity and Dig, and it's great.
Yeah. And then we also get the mentor figure. Mm-hmm. Tom Cavanaugh's Harrison Wells.
Yeah. Ominous. Yeah.
Ominous from the get-go.
From the get-go. Something's up with this guy.
Yeah.
To the point where, people will either cross over or will just be random people. They'll be like, something off about that
guy. He's the creator of the particle accelerator, the accelerator that exploded, gave Barry his powers, killed Caitlin's husband, Ronnie.
He sacrificed himself.
We find out later, but as far as we know, in the foundation of the show, crippled Wells and gave heaps of people metahuman powers.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the impetus for the entire metahuman
Yeah, of the entire Arrowverse, it's from the particle accelerator.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Get the powers. That's the perfect way to get the powers from Arrow to, like, extending out, and even goes further to, like, you know, understanding the universe you're in. Like, hey, we can do this Arrow thing. Like, I think they probably had a choice. They were like, do we keep this thing super grounded and only do things like that? Or this is our swing. Like, this is our swing to the, you know... I mean, the Batman and Superman comps are there because even in season 1, they talk about hope every other episode in, like, the back half. Like, hey, Barry, you can give the people of the city hope, and then Oliver's just like, it's justice. You can give Star City some justice. So
yeah, and then the other kind of additions to the cast. So Candace Patton as Iris West, which, I mean, everyone knows where that's going eventually.
We are the Flash.
Will they? Won't they?
Yeah,
it's a big will they? Won't they? For all of season 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting in the way, though, is Rick Costnet as Eddie Thawne.
Yeah.
You know, he's fine. He's there.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie's there.
Yeah.
Hold that.
Hold it. Hold on to it.
Hold on to Eddie.
Yeah. Eddie's he's a pretty boy cop. You know,
he's the best.
He's the best.
He's engaged to Iris.
Yeah.
Barry's like, ugh.
You're in the way. You're still a good man, so I can't hate you.
He's like, Iris, I love you. And she's like, as friends, right? And he's like, yeah.
Not in the first part. The first part, she went for it. But we'll get back to that.
Yeah. So season 1 is all about Barry trying to prove that his dad isn't a murderer.
Which he is.
We know he is. Yep. He's a bad person.
Yep. Killed his mother.
And then finding out who the man in the yellow suit is.
So the end of the first episode is over. So the first episode, how does it go? It goes weather wizard. So in terms of comics, probably one of the best rogues that you can ask for is the Flash. The Flash has probably one of the deepest rogues gallery. It's honestly, if being straight up, it's probably Batman and the Flash have the best. Like, I understand the Superman rogues are too overpowered. They're like that to deal with Superman, but in terms of, like, actual rogues for a character, like, Batman and the Flash and DC have the best, like, galleries of rogues. To the point where they call them the galleries of rogues multiple times in this show. Because this show is
to the point where they burn through too many and too fast.
They use one for each episode of the first 7 episodes. They use one, and it's like, we're really going through these rogues kind of quick.
And that kind of becomes a problem for later seasons when you could have made a couple of these guys maybe season-long villains, or a group of them maybe.
Ooh. A gallery of rogues for a season.
But they don't do that.
Yeah, so...
The only one that... I mean, a couple of these guys come back a couple times, but...
different versions of them.
The one that really sticks around is Wentworth Miller.
Right,
as
so
Captain Cold.
I mean, that is the rogue. That's like your... Because it's your, you know, it's your superpowered one and your non-superpowered one. So Captain Cold is your, you know, and a great portrayal by Wentworth Miller. So much so that he kind of probably helped spawn Legends of Tomorrow. Like, they probably were looking for people, and they were like, by no circumstance can we make Captain Cold and Heatwave the two of the main characters of this. They said, why not?
We'll talk about Legends of Tomorrow because we know who the main characters of Legends of Tomorrow were supposed to be. So yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, first episode is the classic coming of age, you're a hero now, kid.
Yeah.
Story.
Right.
He runs to Star City.
Great scene.
Great, tremendous. I mean, it's one of the foundational scenes of the Arrowverse.
It's so good. It's so Batman and Superman. It's so like, look, I'm sad, and Starling City freaking sucks, but you can actually do, like, the lightning didn't just hit you, Barry. It chose you. Like, that's the whole conceit behind the entirety of the Flash is, like, it chose you for a reason. And yeah,
saving your city like a guardian angel.
Yeah. And I love the little trope, like, where Oliver, like, you know, he shoots the arrow, he, like, you know, zips away, and he's just like, that's freaking cool, Barry says, and then, like, Barry just flashes away, and Oliver's like,
cool.
Pretty freaking cool.
It's yeah, like I said, it's one of the foundational Arrowverse scenes.
Sure.
So, like, any list of best Arrowverse scenes, that one's there.
Mm-hmm.
Something else that might also be on that list is the tornado.
Yeah. Because then they just had to copy it for this Flash movie because that's how good it was. So.
The tornado with Harrison Wells narrating basically and being like,
yeah. So you get a couple things. So one is the fact that, you know, like you said, Harrison Wells is the mentor figure, but Tom Cavanaugh is just
tremendous,
incredible as Harrison Wells for now. It's not like he'll turn into anybody else, but yeah, it just, his monologue is incredible, talking about,
I've made mistakes.
Yep.
But you can do this, Barry. You can stop it. You can undo all the wrongs I've done.
Yeah. Now
you
run,
Barry, run,
man. If I had a shot for every time I'd say that, I'd be in a coma like Barry for that year.
So he's a hero.
He's a hero. He gets a suit from Cisco, the science tech guy, and then he gets some, science jargon from the whatever Caitlin is. Great Team Flash.
Yep. And then we get a little post-credits, not post-credits, but the post-logo stinger. Harrison Wells goes into a mysterious room. He gets up.
What? How'd you do that, boss?
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle. I can stand.
He goes to a computer and a big head comes on the screen and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's going on? What's up, Gideon?
Yeah. What's a Gideon?
What's the status of the future?
Barry Allen is still on track for 2024.
And you're like, What's that?
What is that?
What is that? What is going on?
What is that?
And yeah, I mean, the big hook of season 1 is Harrison Wells. Dun, dun, dun. Is the reverse.
We don't know yet.
Come on, man.
Not yet. Hold
we
it.
got 9 seasons to talk about.
Hold it. Just hold it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to, beat for beat, just this first 9 episodes, because it's important. And then we're going to shoot through right to season 9. That's exactly how we're going to do this. All right, cool. So then it's basically episode after episode is rogue.
We do get Captain Cold.
Yep. So who do we get? We get Blackout. We have the Weather Wizard. We have
Girder.
Like you have freaking
Heatwave.
No. Not yet. Yeah. No, Heatwave is Heatwave's in season 2.
Really? We don't get Heatwave until season 2?
No, they teased him in season 1 in episode 4. That's what they did the little tease. You get Plastique. Yeah. So you get your rogues, you get your life lessons for Barry. One thing about Grant Gustin.
He's trying to figure out a way to get Iris to fall in love with him.
Correct. That's the human thing.
It's not working.
The couple of the Flash things, he's very like, I'm a hero now, so I'm just going to run out and do whatever. And Harrison Wells is like, maybe you shouldn't, buddy. Maybe you should.
And every week, Harrison Wells is teaching him a new power.
Right. Yeah. This is basically Infamous at this point. You get a new power when you go in the subways. So yeah, he's getting some news always popping up, and each of these have a stinger. Like the Plastique stinger is Grodd, because Tom Clancy's in this.
Clancy
Brown's in this. Same guy.
No.
Clancy Brown's in this. He plays Wade Eiling. You're Wade Eiling from DC Comics. There's a lot of you're this person from DC Comics.
He plays douchey general guy that he plays in literally everything he's in live action.
Exactly. All right, cool. So rogue, life lesson. Barry wants to be faster. Barry has dad issues. All this crap. And then we get to episode 8. Flash versus Arrow, and this is the first crossover. And then this is where I was just like, people told me, "Hey, you have to watch both of these," and I'm like, "What's an Arrow? what's the Arrow?" So then the episode happened, and I was like, "This is pretty freaking cool." So Barry and Oliver are together. This is your city, Barry. Not yet. Oliver's leading the way so far. They intercut the themes.
Yes. And I love how Oliver shows up in Central City and everyone's like, he's a murderer.
Yeah, because he is. He is a murderer. He murdered heaps of people in season 1. Remember that supercut that we watched of how many people he murdered in season 1? If you were a person, you got murdered in season 1 because the Arrow isn't there.
The Arrow crew comes over for this. Mm-hmm. Felicity and Dig come over and they're like, my guy can beat up your guy, basically.
Ooh, best bit is every time that Barry runs Dig that he throws up. Thanks.
Good.
All right, so they train. They train in their casual Brooks Brothers outfits.
Yep.
Their Old Navy mannequin outfits.
Oliver's a real dick to Barry.
Yeah, he's just like, Barry, I'm mad because my city sucks. And
he's also
happy.
Like, you suck, you have superpowers, and you somehow get your ass kicked every week with superpowers. Right. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get to name my villains because, but in terms of, being serious, a really great moment is just like, Barry's like, I had to watch my mother die in my city. And Barry's like, I also watched my mom die. Why do you think that everything's happened to you, but not me? I thought that bit was incredible because it's just like, Barry's been through crap just because, this is who you...
because he wears it better.
Yeah, Barry does wear it a whole lot better. And I think that's something you talked to me about. Like, Barry wears all of his trauma, and they are very similar to each other in terms of the stuff they've had to face in their life and the adversity they've had to face. Like,
well, it comes up and it comes up in one of the later, I think it's in the Elseworlds crossover when they get into that real argument.
Yeah.
And, Barry says, like, I'm not depressed all the time. And Oliver goes, well, I'm sorry, Barry, I'm not as emotionally healthy as you are. Like, that's pretty much it. Like,
Yep.
Oliver kind of used his trauma for one thing, and Barry used his for another thing. And it kind of set their courses for...
Well, it's the comic Batman and Flash thing that gets, like, paid off in the button, and in Flashpoint in the comic. Like, hey, like, Batman even says, like, you are who I, like... People always say, like, you're because of this, because of your parents. I'm like, the same thing happened to Barry is the same thing that happened to Batman. Like, he also did lose both of his parents. And, like, Batman says, like, I wish I turned out like you. Like, if there was anybody, like, you are one of the best men I've ever met in my life because of the way you turned out. Like, you could have turned out like me and you didn't. So,
yeah. Well, big fight.
Yeah, big fight.
Barry gets brainwashed by a color character.
Rainbow Raider. By Rainbow Raider. By what kind of character?
A color character.
Okay.
Not with the ED. Color.
Just, it's by Rainbow Raider.
It's the bikes bit again.
Okay. Wait, which bit?
The bikes bit.
Oh, man. You should clip that piece right here just so we can tape it together, because the colored bikers.
Come on, man.
No. The color. The bikes had different colors. Every day we teeter that line.
Flash and Arrow fight. They're the
somehow Oliver just isn't murdered.
The teams are arguing about who can win.
It's I think it's so hilarious. But again, it's very early on when Batman and Superman know each other. Like, hey, like this somehow is competitive. Like,
and also, I love Dig just being brass tacked with Cisco being like, "Do you know how many people Oliver has killed with that bow and arrow?"
It's like Barry has super speed. Like, he can. Oliver's standing still to him,
and they're like, "Oliver will kill him if it comes to it." So obviously Barry gets fixed. They grasp each other's forearms and clasp their biceps at the end of the episode.
Yep. And then real quick, we switch to Arrow because so now the way the crossovers work, it's like you go to this person's episode and then that person comes to your episode. So we go to Arrow on Wednesday night after Tuesday night. Basically, Team Flash now goes to the Arrow Cave, which Cisco dubs it the Arrow Cave. That's canon. That's the first time it was dubbed the Arrow Cave. So yeah, they go there. They take on Boomerang, who also later became what's-its-face from Stargirl.
Yeah.
Gotta love the Arrowverse, man. Gotta love it. But yeah, they take on Captain Boomerang. Captain Boomerang is dealt with. Good job. Let's do Rocky 3 actually, if you don't mind, Barry. And then they cut through, they mix the themes. Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
And like man, I love the way they structure this season because you're all high and mighty. You're like, oh, this is freaking cool, man. Like, crossover. Like, we just saw Oliver. We just saw the Green Arrow and the Flash, and then episode 9 happened, and I'm like, uh-oh.
There's a lot that happens in episode 9.
The reverse Flash is an issue, an absolute. I love the way they start the episode because it's like the Christmas music, and every single Arrow, and Flash episode, episode 9 is always Christmas because that's in real world what time it usually happens. Man, Dispatch is what Barry Allen is. He gets worked by the reverse Flash that time. We
also get the reveal that Caitlin's husband Ronnie is still alive, and he's a fire-headed man. Yeah, he's Ghost Rider.
No, he's the Burning Man, dubbed by Iris at this point.
Yeah,
Iris has a relationship with the Flash, with the Streak. Because it's not the Flash yet.
Because it's season 1.
It's season 1. It's the Streak. I love the conceit behind the suit, that like that suit was going to be given to firemen by Star Labs as like a sorry for blowing up the city.
Yeah. So yeah, the Reverse Flash thing. They trap him. They trap the Reverse Flash, and he's like, "My goals are beyond your understanding." Creates a meme.
Yep.
And then we get a big fight. Meanwhile, Team Flash is also figuring out that Barry was right.
Yep.
There were 2 speedsters in the house that night. One of them is Barry from the future.
Yeah, because the platelets in his blood don't match that of an 11-year-old. Yeah, science. We're gonna can we just agree to use that for the rest of the episode when somebody spits some nonsense? We'll just say science.
Yeah, so Barry's like, "Why did you kill my mom?" And Reverse Flash is like,
you're gonna have to catch me to find out.
They fight in a football stadium.
That was. Ooh, I wonder how much money they used.
It's a nice looking sequence.
Yeah, and it's actually comparatively for the rest of the Arrowverse, it's probably one of the best looking sequences in the whole Arrowverse.
And he's like, "We've done this a long time, you and I, Barry."
Well, so good on them too, because I like how a little bit proactive it is. Also, this is why Grant Gustin's so good. In that episode, you start to see like the darker bits of him too, because they go to Christina McGee, who played, I forget who she played in the '90s Flash show.
She played Christina McGee in the Flash 90s show.
Was she Christina McGee?
Yeah, she was Tina McGee, yeah.
I thought she was a different character.
No, she was that character.
That's great. Good job. Good job. So yeah, she played obviously John Wesley Shipp's love interest in that show.
Yeah.
So yeah, in this episode, she's the leader of Mercury Labs. Max Mercury, I'm looking at you, who's nowhere to be found yet. So yeah, we get a couple things. We get Barry goes to her and he's just like, "Hey, I need this so we can make a trap." So their Team Flash is like, "Hey, we're gonna make a trap for the Reverse Flash." And like Barry's agitated the whole episode. Like he's just like, everybody knows something's wrong. And like I love the setting of Christmas too, because obviously Christmas family. Like Barry's like, it hurts every single time I think about this time of year too. And then the Reverse Flash just shows up and just like, "What's up, man?" And Barry's like, "I'm gonna kill you." And he's just like, "If you even think you can catch up to me, you got another thing coming.
You will try.
You will try." So yeah, they're doing that. Meanwhile, Cisco and Caitlin are looking for Ronnie. They find him, and Ronnie's like, "Don't look for me ever again. I'm done. Leave me alone.
I'm a fireman now."
I'm a fireman now. So yeah, they have their fight. They build the trap. Trap works. Uh-oh. Trap doesn't work. Harrison Wells shows up. He's just like, but he rolls in front of the gunmen that are behind him. Bad plan. Not a great plan.
Yeah. Goes in there.
Goes in there, gets the brakes beaten off of him by Reverse Flash.
This is where we're first introduced to the idea that some might say I'm the Reverse.
Right. Yep.
He's the opposite Flash.
Yeah, you're the opposite Flash, says Cisco Ramon.
So yeah, Reverse Flash pummels Harrison Wells. Barry, open the thing. He's gonna kill Wells. They open it.
Yep.
Reverse Flash gets away.
Yep. And they're just like, you know what? It's Christmas. It's episode over. But
dun dun dun. Big stinger at the end. Harrison Wells goes back into his
chambers, stands up. What?
Stands up again. It's jarring every time he does it.
Puts a ring on. He puts a ring on.
Door opens.
Oh no, it's the Reverse Flash suit. What a surprise.
He puts a little device on the chest and he goes, "Merry Christmas."
Yep.
Dun 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 dun. Helicopter sounds. Yep. Harrison Wells is indeed the Reverse Flash.
Crap.
So we know that.
Yeah.
Now the rest of the season is to figure how the character is going to find out.
And man, so season 9 is the mid-season always for all these shows. That's like their mid, quote unquote midpoint, even though it's not the halfway point. But I love the structure because so it's the crossover, then the mid-season, and then you take your break into the new year, and then late January the show comes back. When I tell you, just upon this rewatch, see, episode 10 into the finale is such a lesson in like how you mix like week to week with an overarching story too. So
yeah, because the week to week is basically fighting different rogues, but then we're getting closer to figuring out who the Reverse Flash is.
Exactly.
People are starting to get skeptical of Wells.
Right.
And we launched that investigation.
Well, it's more like, now it's like Thawne's a little nerd, but it's mainly it's Joe. Joe's just like, there's something's off about that guy.
We tell Eddie that there's metahumans.
Yep. Eddie's like, crap,
man.
This isn't good. And I love this whole thing where like the city's definitely seen these metahumans running around, but like still they're like, there's metahumans running around. And you were right. Mick Rory does show up in episode 10 when the show comes back.
So we reunite the Prison Break duo.
Yep.
Just
Smart.
Great bit of casting.
Smart. So yeah, we run through some more rogues. So we get Heatwave, we get Pied Piper in here too, and now we're just getting more payoff for. So basically, it's Grodd's there. Yeah, we get some
Firestorm.
Well, yeah, the big part is like, and I think in their heads they were just like, we're gonna have to build some more of these heroes up if we're ever gonna get to like this Justice League X, which I think that was maybe a plan that they had at one point. So we get Firestorm in here, a tried and true Firestorm. Ronnie Raymond and Martin Stein, played by Victor Garber. Martin Stein, incredibly.
Victor Garber from the Titanic.
You're Victor Garber from stage acting, because he's great.
Yeah, Robbie Amell and Victor Garber play Firestorm.
Yeah, I love it.
I love both of them. I love what Victor Garber ends up doing later. With Martin Stein. It's really good. And yeah, we're getting closer. We're getting closer to the reveal of the team finding out. Which culminates basically in episode 15.
Oof. And I was trying to think of like some of the best episodes of the show. Spoiler alert: most of the that are not crossovers, most of the best episodes of this show take place from season 1 to season 3. It's incredibly top heavy. But yeah, episode 15, Out of Time, is, in my opinion, this is in the top 5 best episodes of this show. This episode is incredible.
The more powerful weather wizard shows up.
So you find out that who is it? It's who's his younger brother? It's
Clyde. Younger brother.
So you find out that Clyde wasn't alone in that plane that got struck by the dark matter. It was, you're Mark Martin from the comics. So Mark Martin, the bigger, badder, older brother's there to get vengeance for his little brother.
Formidable,
right? So, yeah, he is. He's, like, fully realizing his powers. There's no, like, week 1 villain. Like, he is, like, probably one of the biggest rogues that the Flash has had to face. Comparable to the Flash, too, in terms of, like, power scaling for, like, these metas made from all the same night. Big things that you get from this episode, too, are you get, Weather Wizard. So, this is happening, right? And Barry's just running to the scene of the crime, right? But Barry sees, like, a reflection of himself also. And he's just like, what's that? It's all good. I gotta get to the scene of the crime. Antics ensue. Mark Martin takes Joe, and Mark Martin's like, you know what I'm gonna do, Joe? Since you killed my brother, I'm gonna kill the whole city. And Joe's just like, I don't think that's a comparable thing, but okay.
And then, what we also do is they figure out who Wells is.
Yeah. Yep. Wells is the reverse, because they're just like, how did the freaking thing malfunction? And Cisco's like, it was a hologram, or whatever it was. It was a hologram, whatever. And then Cisco turns around. Wells, you're walking? This is incredible.
It's a miracle. Cue another tremendous scene where Wells reveals himself as Eobard Thawne.
Yeah. I thought of you, Cisco, as a son, even though you've been dead for centuries.
Kills him. Kills Cisco.
Yeah, and you're like, holy crap. Barry's talking to Iris, there's
a big tidal wave coming.
Big tidal wave, and Barry's just like, I didn't want you to find out this way. Turns into the Flash. Iris is just like, he kisses Iris before, and she's in. She's gonna leave Eddie. It's over. And Barry's like, I gotta go. Gotta go save the city. One of the best sequences in the show in terms of showing off the Flash's power. Just I don't know the science, if it's even credible, which it probably isn't, but he's running wall to wall on the city, on the coastline, making sure, he's creating a wave so the tidal wave doesn't strike the city. And this is by far the fastest he's ever ran in his entire career as the Flash in 15 weeks.
His career.
So yeah, he's running back and forth, and then it's just the music swelling, like Mark Martin doing his best villain, raising the title, like it's so good, and then poof, Barry's back in the pit. Barry's like running, and he's just back on the same night where he was running to go to the morgue to find Clyde or whatever person's body, and you're like, oh crap, that was the past right? The past version of Barry that he saw. What do they call it? A speed mirage.
An afterimage, a time remnant.
Yep. This is no. It does not start to not make sense yet.
So he time traveled.
Yeah, first time. First time. Reverse Flash after time traveling, breaking the time like first time.
He packs Mark Martin up. Because he obviously knows everything that's going to happen.
This is when the show was smart about this. They were just like, all right, there's consequences for even inadvertent time travel. There's consequence. So Barry starts to just know stuff. So Barry's just like, people are saying things. He's just saying the thing as the same time. Like
he talks to Iris.
Yeah, talks to Iris, and Iris is like, what are you talking about that we're in love? Because that kiss was in a point of like, the city's about to explode, and like,
I'm the Flash.
I'm the Flash. Like, of course she got caught up in, she probably felt those things, but like a calmer version of Iris is like, hey, Eddie's my fiance. Like, we can't do this.
Eddie punches Barry.
Yeah, Eddie punches Barry.
Stay away from Iris.
Yeah, stay away from Iris, my future wife. I'm the relevant Eddie Thawne. So yeah, we get that. So yeah, timeline's a little different now. But Harrison Wells is just catching on to the fact that he's just kind of knows stuff that happens. Barry immediately takes care of Mark Martin. Like, as soon as the episode, like, he just takes care of him. Like, he just gets him in the pipeline. He's just like, how do you know where Martin was? And he's just like, a hunch. So what it's replaced by is Snart and Cold or Snart and Rory are back. And now you're Golden Glider from the comics. So Snart's sister's there. They steal Cisco's brother. They're like, make us this, or we're gonna kill your brother. Cisco's like, I don't wanna, but I will. So yeah, we get that. Timeline's a little different. Is that the episode when they let them know about the whole team know that Harrison Wells is the Reverse Flash?
No, this is the episode where Wells kills...
Oh, yeah, that's 19, yeah.
Yeah, Wells kills that guy that Iris was working with.
Oh, yeah, the reporter, yeah.
Yeah, because he found out that Wells killed Simon Stagg.
Right, yep.
You're Simon Stagg from DC Comics.
Yeah, remember the first... Arrow is notorious for never giving us Blue Beetle, even though they teased it from episode 1 of Arrow. They teased Ted Kord, but...
So yeah, then we get Mark Hamill.
Yes,
as the
Mark
trickster.
Hamill, back from the 90s. He plays the trickster, and him and his son. You're my son. I'm your father.
And then, I mean, the big thing that happens is we see the flashback of what happened with Don. And that he killed the actual Harrison Wells.
Yep.
And assumed his identity.
Yep.
And then, so...
He's just like, Barry Allen is going to become the Flash in about... 10 years time something? I'm going to need that to happen. Or in 2020, Harrison or the particle accelerator is going to successfully go off. I'm going to need that to happen a couple years early.
Yeah, Tina explains to Barry that Wells changed.
Yeah, it's just like, it's not just like,
it's not just grief.
Yeah, it's like he's completely a different person. And then we get the all-star team up.
And we also, we get Cisco saying that he's had dreams of being killed by Harrison Wells.
Yep.
So that's a little hint towards Cisco's metahuman powers later on. And then, this is when we find everything out. Joe sees everyone's favorite detective, Quentin Lance.
Yep.
He's like, can I see Harrison Wells' body, please?
Because they used to live in Star City, yeah.
Yeah, that's where Harrison Wells died, was in Star City. They find out that's the real Wells. The dead guy is the real Wells. They find the secret room with the Reverse Flash suit.
Yeah, and Gideon's just like, what do you want to know, Barry? And he's like, why are you telling me all this? And she's just like, because you created me. He's like, what?
And then, we're going after the Reverse Flash, basically.
But what about the All-Star Team-Up episode? Don't short me of the Atom. So, Brandon Routh's back for the Atom. Him and Felicity are in a relationship. I don't know what Barry and Felicity's dynamic is. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Probably would have been a better relationship than Oliver and Felicity.
Definitely.
But who cares? Fun episode. So we're going through. We're on 19. Who is Harrison Wells? That's the episode with Lance. And then episode 20 is the trap. We got an idea. we got a plan now. We're gonna set up the scenario again. Do they capture Wells in this episode or not yet? Right?
No, they capture fake Wells.
Oh right, who's Hannibal?
Hannibal Bates.
Hannibal. Come on, man. One of the rogues from an earlier episode who
can shapeshift into different people, but they can't assume the powers. He can't assume the powers. So yeah, we get the trap, and then episode 21 is just a Grodd episode. Yeah,
Grodd fully realized, takes control of Clancy Brown. Fun. It's fun.
Yeah,
good stuff. Now it's heating up. So we figure out. So Eddie, in this whole time, has been captured by the Reverse Flash, and he's just like, "Why did you capture me?
You suck.
You suck." And guess what? You're my great grandfather, you idiot. And you don't marry Iris, stupid. So yeah, it's cool. We get the Rogue Air as the penultimate episode. So basically, all the rogues that are trapped in the pipeline's going to come online in a little bit. And they're like, we need to get all of them out of here because ethics. So they're like, let's get everybody out of here. Guess who they enlist to get everybody out of there? They enlist Snart. I just gotta think there was probably some other people they could have called.
Yeah, because he immediately double crosses them.
Right. Yep. Yep.
He kills one of the other rogues in the process because he owed him money.
Right.
I love Longworth Miller so much.
He owed me money.
And then we get a big fight.
Yeah, so this whole plan fails, whatever happens, and then the Reverse Flash shows back up, and he's just like, all right, Barry, what's going on? What's popping, man? And Barry just gets dealt with, and the next thing you know, Firestorm Fireball comes in. I'm like, this is cool. And then the Arrow theme starts playing. I'm like, wait a minute. And then Oliver just drops in, and I'm like, are we about to have like a legitimate fight? And lo and behold, it was one of the best, superhero fights in this whole universe. So yeah, Oliver, Barry, and Firestorm versus Reverse Flash. Nanites, courtesy of Ray Palm. Oh, they probably should have had the Atom in there.
Nah.
Yeah.
No, he was in prison.
Was he?
Yeah, he got locked up.
Oh, yeah.
In Nanda Parbat.
Yeah. Listen, Barry, I'm going to need your help with something in a little bit. Anytime, any place. The Arrow theme starts playing.
So they fight the Reverse Flash. Mm-hmm. They get him.
They got him. Firestorm flies off.
Yep. Well, he sticks around.
Yeah.
They lock Reverse Flash in the pipeline. Mm-hmm. He's like, what?
And now it's episode 20. This is it. This is season
no big
finale.
belly beggar?
Ask me, Barry. Ask me.
Why did you kill my mother?
Because I hate you.
Oh.
Listen, in the history of man, there's only so many haters that I could put on a pedestal. Reverse Flash is on that pedestal. Man, he hates... Hatred is an understatement for what he feels for Barry. It's insane.
Because I hate you. Why? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
So, Reverse Flash makes him a deal. Mm-hmm. I will grant you the ability, the know-how to go back in time and save your mom if you send me back to my timeline. Mm-hmm. Barry's like, fine.
Yeah. He said, I don't hate you now. I hate who you will become. So.
Because if you don't send me back, there's going to be a big wormhole that opens up and destroys the city. And Barry's like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, he goes back in time to the night that his mom was murdered, and he gets to that moment and he sees future him put the brakes on, stop sign, tells him don't.
Yep.
Whatever you're about to do, don't.
Yep.
And he doesn't. He goes back to the present day, punches the Reverse Flash in the head, and Reverse Flash is not happy. You could have everything you ever wanted. And then Reverse Flash is like, I'm going to kill you.
I'm going to kill everybody in this room, in fact.
And then he's like, now you die, Barry. And then there's a gunshot. And you're like, did they just do the Flashpoint thing? Did someone shoot him in the head? Nope. Eddie Thawne shoots himself in the chest.
Because he wants to be the hero.
No such thing as a coincidence.
Yeah. R.I.P. Well, yeah. Actually, a pretty great scene with Martin Stein and Eddie, because he's just like, you're the one thing in this room that doesn't have like a prerequisite plan. Like, hey, Iris is married to Barry in the future. Like, all these things are supposed to happen, but like, you're like a wild card essentially. Like, we don't know what your true plan is, but I can tell you one thing, that there's no such thing as a coincidence.
Yeah.
So Eddie shoots himself, and Cisco's just I can't say science, but you know what it means. If Eddie kills himself, Reverse Flash will never be born.
Thawne gets erased.
There's also a little bit where there's a helmet with wings on it that just jumps through the wormhole, and Thawne's just like, that's my cue to go, actually. So yeah, I wonder whose helmet that is.
Thawne gets erased from the timeline. Yep. The singularity opens up, and we're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, what a way to end this season. So the singularity opens up. Firestorm's like, or Morgenstein's like, uh-oh. He doesn't say, it would have been funnier if he was like, uh-oh. It's a big singularity in the sky. Barry's like, what if I do the tornado, but bigger and faster and scarier? So yeah, they run in. Caitlin and Ronnie just got married, like, maybe 5 minutes before this wormhole opened up, and they were just like, oh crap. And they're just like, well, if we have a fission reaction in the middle of it too, that can destabilize it if Barry can run fast enough to, unstabilize the whole thing.
It'll kill us both.
Yep, kill us both, but it'll be worth it. They do it. They split in the middle of it, and the season literally ends with Barry just running through the singularity and just into the screen, and I'm like, wow, actually a pretty insane way to end the season, because it's like, it's still a win because your villain is gone, but like, at what cost?
Yeah.
And that's such a good conceit of the show. At what cost is everything that you're doing?
Yeah, then we get season 2. We get just a huge expansion of the universe.
Yeah, huge expansion of the universe. You could tell the budget's higher.
Multiple Earths.
So this is where we joked about it, but it's serious. Like, the Flash really opened up the multiverse for, like, live action superhero content. Like, this is really where it was started to stem from. So the man who saved Central City. So it's a 6-month time jump, I think. Team Flash is gone. There's no Team Flash is kind of disbanded. Stein survived, but Ronnie didn't, and
Ronnie
that just doubled down for Caitlin that she can't be there because she had to watch the love of her life die twice instead of once. So really just kills her on the inside. Cisco goes to work with the Central City Police Department with Joe essentially in like a science division. Obviously Harrison Wells is a murderer.
He confesses.
He confesses.
Leaves Barry Star Labs.
Yeah, and Barry's kind of running solo. And I like where it picks up too because Barry gets the key to the city, or the Flash does, and shows up, and then you're the Atom Smasher from DC Comics. So they find out that they're investigating a murder. What's Atom Smasher's name?
Al Rothstein?
Yeah, so Al Rothstein is killed, and then you find out they test the DNA for whatever this new metahuman is, and it's Al Rothstein. You're like, what? This doesn't make any sense. So yeah, they deal with Al Rothstein. They drain all the radiation from him, whatever. And they're just like, how are these two people both Al Rothstein? This doesn't make any sense.
And then a man...
Wait. So the sentence that is said, not verbatim, but close, is we just beefed up all the security in Star Labs so nobody can just walk in and out of the Cortex. And guess what happens? Somebody walks right into the Cortex. And you're like, you guys stink at this.
There's a big tall guy.
Big tall guy. The music, different theme plays.
Very heroic.
Very heroic theme plays.
And he's like, hello.
Hello, Barry Allen. How do you know my name?
Because I'm Jay Garrick.
What? Whoop. You're Jay Garrick from the Golden Age.
Yeah, so Teddy Sears introduces Jay Garrick, and he's like...
Good casting.
Great casting. He's like, guess what? There's multiple Earths.
Yeah. Hey, that's my helmet.
Give it.
Give it up. So yeah, then we get the Flash of Two Worlds in episode 2. We get introduced to Patty Spivot. Mm-hmm. Great job.
Yep.
Who I think he actually should have ended up with. That's
Probably,
a conversation for a different day. They just keep giving him people that are perfect for him, and just said, you know what? Maybe not. So yeah, we get Patty Spivot in here. Jay, you find out that there's this ominous speedster from Earth 2 that, it was the singularity that kind of opened up, and the singularity actually was a portal to Earth 2. So Jay Garrick gets sucked through. His helmet does too, and Reverse Flash is like, I gotta go, buddy. But Zoom is your new big bad. He's faster than the Reverse Flash. He's just can decimate entire universes.
He's voiced by Tony Todd.
The GOAT Tony Todd. So yeah, Flash. So more rogues. We get Sand Demon.
Cool.
Looking at you, Sandman.
We're introduced. What else happens in the season?
Firestorm is the big one. So Ronnie's dead, but Martinstein's starting to become unstable. So he needs, he needs another half. Jefferson Jackson, Jax. Man, he grew on me a whole lot. He was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get Jax. Good episode. I did quite enjoy that episode.
We're introduced to Joe's ex-wife.
Yes.
Francine.
Yes. So Francine drops 2 bombs. One. Well, you find out that she was an addict before. That's why she wasn't in their life. She wasn't dead this whole time. But she is dying. So that's bomb 1. What's bomb 2? There's usually another character with the West last name in these things.
Yeah.
She says, I have a son. And Joe's like, I had a son? But I have a white son. They have one of my favorite jokes in season 3 with that. And I can't wait to talk about it, but...
we also get...
So what happens is more metahumans from
Another Wells.
Another Wells, yeah. So Harry Wells shows up. He's just a jerk.
Yeah, he's just a jerk, but he's a good guy.
He's a good guy at heart. But you find out that his daughter was captured by Zoom. So he's like, I will steal you the Flash's speed, Zoom. Don't worry about that, dude. I got you. And then episode 6 happens, and I'm like, surely nothing's gonna one up what Reverse Flash did to Barry in season 1. Oh boy, was I wrong, man? When basically they did the what's it?
Black Panther.
No, they did the Nightfall, the Batman Nightfall thing, where he breaks his back, man. So basically, the whole thing is Zoom wants confirmation when the Flash is dead. That's why he keeps sending these rogues to Earth 1, so that way he can also come back to Earth 1 if he wants. So Linda Park from season 1. You're Linda Park from DC Comics. Her Earth 2 version shows up. Linda's just like, why do you have my face, woman? And why do you have light powers? That one's dealt with. So their plan is like, dress Linda up as your Earth 2 version, have her fake kill Barry so Zoom comes through the breach. Plan doesn't work, but it works.
Sort of works.
Everybody thinks everything's cool. Man, I love this so much. Zoom shows up and Barry's like, I'm not, like, pulls a rocket from Guardians 3. I'm done running. But I also need to run for my powers. So, yeah, it's on. Barry learns to throw the lightning because he learned that from Jay earlier. Zoom catches the lightning and throws it right back at Barry. And I'm like,
Return to center.
Return to center. I'm like, uh-oh, this is not good. Zoom drags Barry through the city, takes him to the police department, literally lifts him up like a rag doll. And I love the way Zoom looks at him. He's like, you're right. He's like, is this your king? Like, man, I'm dismantling this man. Takes him to the central city, picture news, whatever it is. Look at this, media. I cooked him. So yeah, Zoom breaks Barry's back. They were trying to come up with a serum to take away Zoom's speed. Zoom just puts it right in Barry, and you're just like, this is not good. This is not good. So yeah, Barry loses his speed a little bit. He breaks his back. But he's healing. He's healing because he's super speed healing. But he's just not mentally there. And I just think that's so great in terms of his overall story for this first couple seasons. Like, he can't do it. Like, he's just like, I don't want to. I'm kind of scared, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
We get another Grodd episode, and then we're at the crossover time. New show alert. new show alert.
Yeah.
So yeah. Cisco's seeing this girl, that one of the baristas at Jitters. Kendra. And at this point, we know that Cisco's been vibing. So
you can see, like, flashes of
people and, like,
yeah.
Well, yeah. Either whether it be their, potential or whether it be an actual place they are, whatever it may be. And he touches this girl named, you're Kendra Saunders from DC Comics. Why do you look like a Hawk woman? Whoop. Cue Legends of Tomorrow, or Legends of Today for this episode. Carter Hall shows up, your personal favorite character.
The best character of all time.
There's a Funko Pop right there. Maybe the greatest gift I've ever gotten for you is that one right there. So yeah, he shows up. Okay, this might be the weakest crossover.
Yeah.
It's because it's just the conceit of them having, because this whole time, like, why didn't they call Team Arrow for any of the Reverse Flash stuff? But this happens, they're like, we need to go to Star City. Like, why?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Because Vandal Savage is here.
Well, yeah. So Vandal Savage shows up, just murdering heaps of guys, just using magic and,
knives.
Whatever, and knives. And gentlemen, how will we be conducting this duel? Knives. Dueling pistols. Man, I love John Wick. So yeah, it's a crossover season. Stuff ensues. Legends of Today. They go to Arrow. Legends of Yesterday. They do the Avengers Age of Ultron thing on the ranch.
Yeah.
To the point where Thea makes fun of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vandal Savage kills everybody.
Yes. So Vandal Savage kills everybody. So Barry's running into a meeting. So it's Merlin, Oliver, and Barry are going to talk to Vandal Savage. And guess what happens on the way to that meeting for Barry? He sees another time remnant of himself. He's like, crap. And then they get to the ranch and Barry's like, goes to Sissy's like, I'm going to do it. Barry's sister's like, don't say it, man. I'm going to do it. I'm going to time travel again. He said, you don't know that you're going to time travel again. I said, buddy, yes, he does. Buddy, I know. So yeah, the big things that come out of this crossover, and this is more Arrow stuff, but Oliver learns that he has a son, and what else comes out of this? That's pretty much it. And then, obviously, the whole show of Legends of Tomorrow gets spawned from this.
Yeah.
So Vandal Savage, he's alive, they find out, and he's the villain of Legends of Tomorrow. That's it.
Yep.
It's a crossover.
Harry and Caitlin create a speed serum.
Yes. Velocity 6. Your Velocity something from the comics.
Wally shows up.
Yes, so the episode 9, man, is this the best mid-season finale? It's not the best, but it's my favorite, I think. Is season 2's, because it's Trickster, Weather Wizard, and Captain Cold versus Barry.
Yeah.
And Captain Cold's like, I'm a villain, but I'm not a bad guy. I'm the villain, but I'm not the bad guy. Or something like that. So yeah, it's the three of them. They're like, Mark Martin's like, I want to kill the Flash. And the Trickster's like, I just want things to explode. And then they're like, okay, well, let's explode the Flash. And Captain Cold's like, I'm not going to do anybody any favors, but you did save me, Barry, so I will tell you that they're coming for you, dude. Stuff happens. Cool. Fun.
Caitlin and Jay start a relationship.
Yep.
Caitlin's doomed romances continue.
Jesus.
Because we find out that Jay's dying. Because Zoom stole his speed.
Yep.
So they're trying to figure out a way to save Jay. None of it's working.
Yep.
Thawne returns.
Yeah, so, I mean, we get the Turtle in episode 10 when they come back. You're the Turtle from DC Comics. And then we get, like you said, Thawne's back. Cool. And this is the first appearance of, like, this is the technical first appearance of the Reverse Flash. So, pretty cool. This is, again, in the upper echelons of episodes. I mean, any of these Reverse Flash, like, driven episodes, like, in season of different seasons are usually pretty good. So, yeah, a lot of fun with this one. Reverse Flash kidnaps Christina McGee to try to help her. And Barry's noticeably, like, relentless in his fight, and he deals with Reverse Flash, which I think is pretty cool. Like, he defeats him, and like he has him on the brink of death, and he, you know, obviously pulls back because he's the hero. We get an episode with Tar Pit. We're just running through these rogues, man. Also in this episode, Wally, like you said, he's Dom Toretto. He's very much a, you know, kid that's, you know, fast. What do they call them? Taillights?
Yeah.
Call them taillights. But yeah, the whole thing is like, you know, Wally's like this, like, you know, more punked out version of Barry, obviously. And then we go to Earth 2. And it's pretty good stuff after that. So, this two-parter was great. So very Power Rangers two-parter, if you ask me. They go to Earth 2. What's the plan? What's the plan?
They have to go to Earth to say, they're going to save Jesse.
Yeah.
They're going to save Wells' daughter.
Right. So go to Earth 2, and then it's Escape from Earth 2. Very part 1, part 2.
They run into doppelgangers of Firestorm and Caitlin.
Yep. They run into Barry, Iris, and Joe. Joe's doppelganger dies. And yeah, Barry and his doppelganger switch places. Somebody tell me what the heck is going on. Oh, he got frisky with you. All right. So yeah, it's good stuff. Meanwhile, Geomancer's wreaking havoc, and they're like, Jay, take the Velocity 6. He takes the Velocity 6. Doesn't last for too long. Jay, take the Velocity 7. I don't want to, but take it though.
But he does.
He does. Well, the Velocity 7 is to take care, is because Patty shows up, and Patty's like, you look like Harrison Wells. Oh, no, you are Harrison Wells. And she just shoots at him. And Joe's like, get out of here, Patty. And she's just like, and then she leaves. And then, takes the Velocity 7, gets the bullet out of Harry. They have a little reconciliation because they hate each other to the point they had, like, multiple fist fights in this season, which is fun. So, yeah, Jake Garrick finally takes the Velocity. What did he take, the
7?
Or he's at 8 at this point?
8, yeah.
So, finally takes care of Geomancer. Good stuff. Or actually, Caitlin and Iris take care of Geomancer, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So,
and then they get back from Earth 2, and they're like, boy, that was a close one.
Yes.
And Jay's just standing in front of the portal, and he's like, this is...
Look at us.
What a situation. And then an arm comes through the portal.
Yep.
It's Zoom.
Yep.
He kills Jay. And you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, this sucks.
Caitlin had to watch another man she was into get murdered.
Yeah.
Awesome.
0 for 2. Caitlin is. King Shark episode. Digs back with Lila, who's now the head of Argus.
Yep.
Cool. Good stuff. Episode 16 is where it starts to kind of pick up. So, there's this new speedster in town, Trajectory. Your Trajectory from I don't know. This is somebody directed this episode, right? Of note, I'm pretty sure.
The Trajectory episode?
Yeah.
Glenn Winter?
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. But yeah, I actually quite enjoyed this episode. Trajectory is just running amok. But the big thing is you're just like, how does she have any sort of speed? This doesn't make sense. And then they're just like, we made this thing called Velocity this. And you find out that Caitlin, while she was at Mercury Labs, had, what's her name? Eliza something. Mm-hmm. Eliza kind of helped her, but Caitlin's like, I never gave her enough to, you know, get the point of we were making artificial speed, but obviously you find out that Eliza kind of, you know, put 2 and 2 together, kind of splits her personality, and you get either Eliza or Trajectory. But the big thing to come out of this is at the end, Eliza's, you know, her electricity turns blue, and then they're just like, Zoom's lightning's blue. Zoom's dying, isn't he? Crap. This ain't good. This is not good. This is not good. So Barry's like, hey, I got an idea. So Barry, this whole back half of the season's like, I need to get faster, because Zoom is like noticed, like he's like, what is he, like 4 times faster than Barry? He's just like, it doesn't make sense. And I love that little bit where they're just like, Barry's like, I'm not getting faster. And Caitlin's like, well, and then Harry's like, no, you're not fast. You're kind of actually slow. So yeah, they're trying to figure out ways. And guess what Barry's idea to get faster is? Going back to the past, I'm going to talk to the GOAT himself, Reverse Flash. Incredible episode, that flashback episode. You get introduced to time wraiths that are just, they'll come for you if you're a speedster messing with the timeline. We get introduced, so Pied Piper's back, but now the timeline's all shifted now. What else changes from this? Is there any other changes?
I can't remember. I don't think so.
The big thing, too, is, like, the fact that when they come back, they know how to deal with the time wraiths. Yeah. But I don't know how that didn't dismantle the whole timeline. This is where it starts to get a little tricky. Time travel, Barry. The more you do it, the less the rules apply to you.
Oh, and I mean, the big thing is Cisco, they figure out that Jay is Zoom.
Yep. Cisco's, they're like, vibe the helmet. Vibe it. This is a complication. Well, we found out in episode 15, or yeah, at the end, where he kills, he's just like, this is a complication. My money, I mean, we knew each other when this was coming out. My money was that I thought it was going to be his father, because doesn't he give him that line, like, Garrick, that's my mother's maiden name? Like,
well, he does that at the end of the season.
Right, yep. And I'm like, ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
So cool. So what happens after this? It's the Zoom, we've learned who Zoom is. Zoom is not Jay Garrick. It's Hunter Zolomon. You're Hunter Zolomon from DC Comics. Cool. We learned that he's essentially a serial killer, but the way that Harry explains is, like, serial killers are like anomalies on their Earth. So, like, nobody's really heard of this. Like, obviously it's a play, but, superhero, stories are kind of like, or superhero stories, freaking stories about, mass murderers, and these people are kind of anomalies, so they don't really exist. So, Hunter Zolomon's story was kind of buried, but obviously he comes back, gets the speed on the night that Harry's particle accelerator goes. Good stuff. Good stuff. What else do we get? Cisco's brother comes back from Earth 2, Rupture. Mm-hmm. Cool. So here's the plan. Zoom takes Barry's speed. It works. Good job. The Runaway Dinosaur episode. Dare I say the best episode of this whole show?
One of them, yeah.
One of them. So Barry goes into the Speed Force. Is the first time we're, like, physically in the realm of the Speed Force. His Speed Force is his mom. Mm-hmm. Good stuff. It's a good, it's a good theme. Good stuff. Barry comes out of the Speed Force. He's got his powers back. Episode 22 is cool because it's like now he's invincible. Like he'll run into any situation. He's just like, I there's no doubt, like, I don't have to worry about anything. I'm never going to die. And his dad's like, buddy, I think you should slow down a little bit. Mm-hmm. He's like, no, you murdering dad, I'm not. So yeah, we get that episode. And at the end of that episode,
Zoom kills Henry Allen.
Such a smart way to do it, because, like, now you're faster than you've ever been. I can't beat you physically, so now I'm gonna kill your emotional core. So he kills his father. Episode 23, season finale. It is the race of his life. They're gonna race. What a crazy way to end the season. We're gonna race. We're gonna have a good. They just did a Fast and Furious again. Let's race, actually, to figure out the.
Let's race.
So basically, their electricity is going to power a machine that's going to destroy the multiverse.
Yeah.
Because he's a mass murderer. Okay.
And a masked murderer.
A mass murderer. He captured Caitlin at some point. I didn't even talk about the Supergirl crossover. Because he gets the tachyons. He's running so fast where he runs into her universe.
Yep.
Cool. They dispatch of Zoom. Zoom becomes a time wraith. Season over.
Zoom becomes the Red
Death.
Well, no, not the Red Death. The Dark Flash.
Or Dark Flash, yeah.
Yeah. Zombie Flash? What is he called?
It's Red Death.
No.
Nah, Red Death's Batman.
Yeah.
What's it? Frickin'... Oh, the Black Racer.
Yeah. That's
job.
who Zoom becomes later on.
Perfect. Season 3.
Savitar.
The god of speed.
Oh, boy. Well, no, actually, what happens at the end of season 2 is he runs back in time and saves his mom.
Yeah. So,
and creates Flashpoint.
Yes, so we did Flash. So the biggest comic that the Flash has ever had is done in 3 episodes.
Yep, they did Flashpoint.
Or 2 episodes. It was 2 episodes that it's over.
Yeah.
Good job. So things are different when Barry comes back, and that's kind of the whole season, is that what's the major differences?
Cisco and Caitlin both have powers.
Cisco already did, but Caitlin now is Killer Frost in the main timeline. Iris and Joe have a horrible relationship now. Dig has a son and not a daughter. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nope. Yeah.
Okay. That's it. There's like subtle changes everywhere too, but
Draco Malfoy's in this season.
Yeah, so we get introduced to Julian Albert because the budget was higher. Good job. They get him in there, and now we start getting these other rogues that start popping up, but they're not from the particle accelerator. You find out that this being named Dr. Alchemy is restoring the powers of people from Flashpoint. Where I would begin to even understand the mechanics behind that is just insane. But basically, we're just going to chalk it up to the Philosopher's Stone. Is that a callback to the fact? It's got to be, right?
Yeah,
so,
I think so.
Cool. This whole thing is happening. Invasion crossover. Supergirl's here.
Most importantly, though, the one person that he gives powers to is Wally.
Yes, so Wally West finally becomes Kid Flash. Good job. Squandering a Kid Flash needs to be studied. What other stuff happens? Friggin', what else do we get in season 3? Jay Garrick, obviously, at the end of season 2, he went to Earth 3. Barry pulls him out of the timeline, or Jay pulls him out of the timeline because Barry's like, I'm going to time travel again, and Jay's like, can you not? You're destroying everything, bud. Can't do this, son.
Well, we know. Well, the one thing we do know, the whole season's plot is Savitar's going to kill Iris.
Right, yep. So we find out at the end of episode 9 that Barry jumps to the future and he's just like, Savitar murders Iris. He's just like, okay, which is actually pretty cool. It's like, hey, we have this amount of time to make sure that we can save Iris. And Barry's like, I need to get this fast by this point. We found out that Dr. Alchemy is Julian Albert, but who's confused?
He's mind controlled?
He's mind controlled by Savitar. Yep. What else do we get in this?
The future Flash.
Right. We get Gypsy from Earth 19.
Yep.
Cisco's new love interest that has the same powers.
Danny Trejo's her dad.
Not yet.
But he will be.
He will be. Grodd's back. So we have another 2-parter, the attack on Gorilla City and attack on Central City. Good stuff. Jessie has powers. We found out that the particle accelerator that they used in season 2 to get various powers back gave Jessie powers. So she's on Team Flash now. So it's basically Wally, Barry, and Jessie Quick. Pretty cool. What does Barry do? Barry meets Abracadabra. I'm just running through the season. So Barry meets Abracadabra, and played by David Dastmalchian, which is great. And he's just like, I know who Savitar is.
Tell me. No.
Yeah. Meanwhile, while this, like, the back half of the season, Wally's having visions of Savitar, and he's just like, and at some point, Savitar's in a vision, right? With Wally, and he's about to do the hand thing, and then you see Barry just replaces him, and he does the thing. And I'm like, wow, good stuff. There's a duet episode, there's a musical episode with Supergirl and Barry. Because
they're both from Glee?
Exactly. And Victor Garber and Jesse L. Martin were on the stage.
And John
Barrowman, yep. Good stuff. So Barry goes to the future and he goes to 2024 and he's just like, all right, can you stop time traveling, Barry? You're killing me, man. So good.
Everything's bad.
Everything's horrible. Team Flash is broken.
Wally's catatonic.
Well, before in the season 2, Caitlin gets, her powers, they find a way to dampen it, but she needs to take it off because she gets stabbed. Crap. So yeah, we go to the future. Team Flash is rebuilt. Good stuff. We have a new Harrison Wells, and this is the trope that this show is built upon Tom Cavanaugh's shoulders.
Yeah.
But he's an idiot. So he's an idiot.
Yeah, he's like he's a fake scientist, basically.
Yeah, right. But
he lied on his resume.
Right, but he's got a heart of gold.
He does.
Yeah, so they find out, here's the plan. We're gonna get this this scientist, and she's gonna build us a speed cannon that's gonna put what's his face? Savitar back in the Speed Force. Awesome. Not a great plan, because it doesn't work. Oh, well, basically, Wally in the Speed Force, there's this trap, and the Speed Force needs, like Atlas, Savitar says somebody needs to take the place. It's Savitar. Savitar gets out. Wally takes his place. Barry gets him out. Jay Garrick's back. Jay Garrick takes his place. Crap. Oh no, Jay Garrick.
Yep.
So yeah. And then we find out who Savitar is. And you know, at the end of the episode, Joe's talking about family and, like, you know, what they have and what they've lost. And Barry's like, sounds all too familiar.
He starts piecing things together that Savitar has said to him.
Yeah. You remember from when you were me. And I was like, what? Like I told you, I am the future Flash. That's just comma errors. That's different.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Barry Allen is Savitar.
Yep, so Grant Gustin plays the villain and the hero of the season. Good stuff, man. Real good.
So he's a time remnant.
Here
we go.
Jesus. When I tell you we're going to run through season 4 through 9, we're going to run through season 4 and 9. Here we go. What came first? Because the explanation from Cisco is that it's a closed loop. Because there was a scenario where Savitar appeared, and Savitar needed, you know, Barry used time remnants of himself to take him out. So what came first? The time remnants to take out Savitar, or Savitar, who was there, who wouldn't have been there, because the time remnant turned into Savitar at a later date.
But also a previous date, because he ran back to the beginning of time and became the first speedster.
Exactly. To create the lie that he was the first speedster to create a cult following. I bet you one of them just read Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars, like with the whole Doctor Doom thing, with like the Rabu Malal stuff, and they're like, that's kind of cool.
And then he got trapped in the Speed Force.
From the Speed Cannon, from whatever her name is.
Yeah.
This doesn't make sense, dude. I just hate the fact that Cisco's like, it's a closed loop. And then they even say in the episode, they were like, so which one came first, the chicken or the egg? And Cisco's like, it's a closed loop. There's no beginning or end.
There has to be.
Whatever. Caitlin's working with Reverse Flash. With Savitar, because they were just like, no wonder Caitlin went with them, because it's a familiar face. So yeah, Savitar's whole plan is like, I'm gonna just
kill everybody.
I'm gonna kill heaps of people. I'm gonna kill the whole multiverse. Because, you know, Savitar or Evil Barry even goes to the team and they try to bring him back, and he's like, nah, I'm evil. I'm gone. Too far gone. So yeah, this is it. The night happens. HR switched out with Iris.
Yep. He dies.
Should have shot A-Rod. Should have killed Iris. R.I.P. HR. Good stuff. They get to the last episode, and I don't even know how this begins to make sense, but apparently since Iris is alive, Savitar's being erased from existence. Mm-hmm. I don't get it. Because
he kills Iris in the future, which prompts Barry to create the remnants to defeat Savitar, which is one of the remnants that. But how did we get
to the point where he killed Iris in the first place if Savitar didn't exist before that moment? Oh, God. Jesus. Yeah. So what's the plan? He's going to blow up the entirety of the Speed, whatever it is.
All the speedsters show up.
Oh, yeah. Jay Garrick's back. Good stuff. So it's Wally. It's like, this is real comic, you know, Flash stuff going on. Like, it's Wally, Barry, and Jay Garrick versus Savitar. Good stuff.
And then Iris kills Savitar.
Iris does kill Savitar.
She shoots him in the back.
Barry also enters Savitar's suit, and Savitar's like, "It is written." God.
And then Barry explodes the suit, and then he goes into the Speed Force.
Well, yeah, everything's good. Nice night. Everything. Well, they have a funeral for HR. Everything's good. And then Jay's like, oh crap, I probably shouldn't have left the Speed Force. Now there's just, now the whole universe is about to explode. So Barry goes in there, ends season 3, and this is where the show takes an absolute nosedive in the completely wrong direction. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, it gets rough.
Yeah, it does get super rough.
Barry comes out of the Speed Force way too soon.
Way too soon, yep. He didn't cook long enough.
Wally gets kind of backseated into nothingness.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate. I don't know what the relationship was with Keenan Longsdale. I don't know if he was promised anything and didn't get it. It is very unfortunate, because to me, I grew up with Wally West as the Flash. When I started watching Justice League Unlimited, Wally West was my just like John Stewart was my Green Lantern and Wally West was my Flash. You would think they would kind of, make it so that he was going to be... I thought they were going to do a situation where Grant Gustin was going to leave for a little bit and like Keenan Lonsdale was going to be the Flash for a little bit, but unfortunately that did not happen. We got to season 4. The showrunners switch in season 4, and you can feel it from the opening lines.
Yep.
You can feel it.
A non-speedster main villain, so the Thinker is the big bad
the first one, yeah. The first non-speedster. And it's just basically, this is the scenario I think of. In my opinion, this is an example of when your writers aren't smart enough to write the smartest character that's supposed to be on screen. Like, they can't keep up with the thing that they're trying to do.
Yeah.
So, very unfortunate. More rogues come out of this. Barry and Iris are getting married. They send out another signal to try to get another HR. So they get a detective French version of, anything to keep what's his face, which I just don't understand why they just didn't have Harry Wells be their Wells the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why that was such an issue. But yeah, we get that. So basically, here's what happens. So we go through DeVoe's kind of concocting a plan, and Barry's kind of being out to be this crazy person that's believing this man is this evil person when in all actuality he's just this mild-mannered college professor. We get the wedding, so Crisis on Earth X, so Barry and Iris' wedding is, encapsulated. This is the best crossover in my opinion. I think This is pretty stellar. Crisis on Earth X. It's just basically the Arrowverse Justice League versus Nazis. Good stuff. And it's Barry, or it's Reverse Flash, Evil Barry, or Evil Oliver, Evil Kara. They're all Nazis. Good stuff. And then we do from the comics the Trial of the Flash. So DeVoe is found murdered in his apartment, and Barry's fingerprints are all over it. So Barry goes to jail. Meanwhile, we get introduced to a new character, the Elongated Man.
Yep.
Hi, Elongated Man. You're Elongated Man from the comics, aren't you? So yeah, he's gone. Barry's gone. Man, this season the writing's not great. It's all like the charm is like, it starts to like just get lost in the season, man. And it's nothing you could save. But there's one saving grace, and it's Flash time in this season. Oh, it's so good. It's so freaking good. There's a nuke. The nuke goes off, and you're like, oh crap, the nuke went off. And then Barry enters Flash time, which basically means he can move at normal speed, and everybody's like stuck still. And he's got to figure out how to stop this nuclear bomb that just went off. Incredible episode that just...
It's a really smart episode. Yep. Yeah, I really like it.
Which just does not feel a part of this whole thing. What's the plan after this? So basically you find out there was this bus full of metas when Barry came out of the Speed Force, and all these metas were made. The Thinker's taking all of their powers. That's why... what's the Thinker's name? What's his name?
DeVoe?
Yeah, DeVoe. DeVoe's body could be killed, but he just transferred his consciousness into any of the metas that he needs. Okay. What else happens? What's his name? Dibney's one of the bus metas.
Yep.
He dies.
Yep.
R.I.P.
Yep.
Very sad. Barry goes into a mine prison with DeVoe. They have a mine fight, because why not? There it is. Good job. So here's DeVoe's master plan. He's going to get this satellite, and he's going to reset everybody's mind, and he's going to be basically the conqueror of this world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And doesn't work. DeVoe's like, crap, you crashed my plan. You crashed my plan.
He stopped with the assistance of...
Well, so yeah, basically like, you know what? I'm just going to nuke the planet then. So he just sends all the satellites the satellite down on the Earth. It's like, it's so big that it's just going to create like a meteor that hits the Earth. Barry's like, I'm just going to punch it.
With the help of...
a mysterious speed fist.
Yeah. So we find out...
So everything's saved. Q season 5.
We find out that it's Barry's daughter from the future.
Yes, Nora Allen from the future comes back to see her dad. Man, good. Season 5 was a bounce back. It's not perfect. It's not incredible, but I do think it's pretty solid comparatively to 4. Like, it is a solid bounce back. I do quite enjoy the Nora Allen actor as well, too. I think she did a pretty good job. So, yeah. And one thing you see is, like, you see Grant Gustin kind of starting to grow now. He's kind of getting into the father territory, all the lessons he learned from Joe and his father. It's great. I think he's consistently the best character possibly in the Arrowverse this whole time. It's like him and Oliver holding this whole thing up. What else do you get in season 5? You get,
the Thawne's back.
Thawne's back.
He ends up being the big bad of the season.
So
you find out
that's what I think is one of the smartest.
Cicada.
Right. So Cicada is this anti-meta. I hate all the metas, even though I am a meta.
Anti-meta serial killer.
Exactly. He's just killing heaps of metas. There's a new Wells. Who cares? it's so much. We get Elseworlds. We get the Elseworlds in this one, so basically, and Elseworlds is the precursor to Crisis on Infinite Earths. Mm-hmm. Your Crisis on Infinite Earths from DC Comics. What else do we? Season 5 is a lot of, we get the Grodd versus Killer Shark in Season 5.
We get the first appearance of Godspeed.
Godspeed's there. Yep. We find out Godspeed's from the future, and Nora's fighting him at some point. What else do we get? Well, the big thing that comes out of this is that Barry finds out that Nora's working with the Reverse Flash. Ooh, I love it so much, because guess the first doesn't even have a shadow of second thought, runs her back into the future and leaves her there. And Iris is just like, why would you do that? He's like, do you hear yourself? Like, she was working with the Reverse Flash. She's just like, she's your daughter. She just wanted to meet you. And Barry's like, she's working with the Reverse Flash. Don't understand what you're not understanding about this. So yeah. Nora comes back. She's a little evil for a second, but it's not true.
Because she's being corrupted by the negative Speed Force.
Right.
This is where we get the introduction of the negative Speed Force.
Mm-hmm. You're the negative Speed Force from DC Comics.
Thawne basically catches Barry in a catch-22 in the future by saying either your daughter goes back into the negative Speed Force or she's going to be erased from the timeline.
Right.
And Nora decides to be erased from the timeline.
Yeah, because in her mind, she's going to be born anyway, so it doesn't. It's fine. Super emotional, good stuff. Kenan Lonsdale also is in the first episode, but then he goes to Legends, right? Or he comes back from Legends.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand what he did to just not be in this show. It's insane to me. Season 6.
Season 6 hampered by the COVID pandemic.
Basically. Yeah. This season was super.
Bloodwork is the main villain.
Exactly. Yep. Cool. So it's an attempt, and this is where I think that at this point, this is when Flash Rebirth was happening. Mm-hmm. Like, Flash Rebirth was like a year old. Like, the newer Flash Rebirth was a year old. They started pulling Bloodwork was directly from that. Like, Godspeed was. I mean, in terms of the comic realm, Godspeed was the newest big villain in comics at that point. It was Godspeed. And I'm not going to lie, a big part of that was because of the success of the Flash show, as people were into the Flash comics at that point.
Yeah.
Ralph gets a little bit of an upgraded role in Central City.
It'll be his last.
Yes, it will be his last. The Ralph Dibny actor did some things he should not have done.
Correct.
And he was dispatched from the show. What else? And like you said, this season was cut short because of the pandemic. Season 6 is, like you said, Bloodwork. What else do we get out
Mirror
of this?
Master.
Mirror Master, yep.
Lady Mirror Master.
Lady Mirror Master. We get Allegra.
Allegra comes into the main cast, yep.
With a different version of Harrison Wells.
Nash Wells, her
mentor.
Who becomes
Pariah
in Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Insane. That's season 6. There's nothing other.
Nothing really. Yeah, season 6 isn't really notable for many things.
And that's something we can talk about. And I mean, see, the by far the biggest thing that comes from season, it's Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's the massive thing. Basically, even the first half of this season was, not diluted, but it was held up by Crisis, because I think this is when they started to understand the timeline moves up. So basically, instead of the timeline being 2024, it's 2019 now is when Barry's going to disappear in Crisis. So that's what they're trying to kind of prevent this whole time, is Barry, you only got X amount of time left. Crisis happens. Crisis, again, I think is great. Ezra Miller's in this.
Yeah.
Ezra Miller pops up. Insane. And then, we get Sue Dibney's also here, who gets brutally murdered in the comics.
Sue Dearborn. In the show, yeah.
Cut it out. We get there. It's Bloodwork. By Bloodwork, you've been dispatched.
And Mirror Master also.
Mirror Master. And
she turns good at the end?
Well, not till season 7.
That's right.
Because the pandemic happened, obviously. And, I mean, you couple the showrunner switching in season 4, and then you're having to do Crisis essentially too in there. Like, it's just the perfect storm of like all the things you don't want to do to a show in this point of its career in a season 6, because it's so much overshadowing over like character work and like logic just starts getting thrown out the window. There's time travel stuff that just doesn't make sense. We get introduced to new characters. I will say I do like the beginning of episode 1 of season 6 though, because then we finally get the Flash Gordon theme where when they go to shave Chester. Chester Chester P. Runk gets introduced. He's new Cisco.
Yep.
And, this is by the time, characters start leaving. Cisco's gone. I think something happened to Jesse L. Martin. I think he had an injury or some sort, so he just was in the show significantly less at this point.
Daniel Pennebaker got pregnant.
But yes, so she was gone for a while. So, yeah, all these sort of things start happening. And then we hit season 7.
Godspeed. Yeah. It's going to be cool.
Yeah, so they set up Godspeed's going to tease him.
Finally, we're doing Godspeed.
Yep, we're doing Godspeed. Good stuff.
And it isn't great.
Okay, so, all right. So we got these forces, right? I don't even... Do you want to explain this?
Nope.
I don't either. Because it doesn't make even the slightest of sense. Does not make any... It's going to piss me off.
I mean, this becomes kind of the crux of the last 3 seasons.
Exactly.
From these 6,
forces, 6, 7, and 8 are just...
7, 8, 9,
Or 7, 8, 9, are just...
dominated by these.
Again, the big thing that was coming out of the comics were like the Speed Force, the Still Force. Oh my, this isn't. So
they introduce it all,
right? Let's adapt it, and man, it just does not make any sense. So Crisis happened, and I think Crisis infected the Speed Force or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So the Speed Force,
the Spectre infected.
Right. That's what it was, and then the Speed Force is dying. And the Speed Force manifests as Barry's mom. Very sad. So Barry essentially has to watch his mom die twice.
But Wells sacrifice themselves for good.
Yeah, all the Wells make an artificial Speed Force because that doesn't even begin to make sense. I don't get it. I don't understand. So yeah, that happens. Mirror Master, or no, we've already dealt with Mirror Master by this point.
She gets dealt with in the first 3 episodes, yeah.
Because of the pandemic, yeah, that's all. And they say
the first 3 episodes of season 7 are effectively the end.
Oh yeah, right. Because it's night. So this is supposed to be 20, 21, and 22, right? And then episode 4 should be episode 1.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So they go back to. So it's there's this big hulking figure that shows up, the Strength Force, and then they go to the 90s, and it's the
Still Force.
It's the Still Force. I don't even want to begin to understand anything that happens in here. So yeah, Barry's Speed Force mom is evil?
No.
Yeah.
She's not evil.
She's not intrinsically evil.
Right.
But she becomes evil.
Right.
So basically they're her kids, or they're Barry and Iris's... Well, because the new artificial Speed Force is powered by Iris's love for Barry. Dude...
It's like Nebula setting Guardians. That's an oversimplification of events, but that just about covers it.
Cisco leaves this season.
Yep. Godspeed shows up.
Yeah. Nora's back, right? Nora comes back for that. With
Bart
Allen. You're Bart Allen from DC Comics.
Impulse, yep.
They should have left him in for longer, man. I feel like that's
I like that actor, yeah.
I like that actor a lot. I feel like he should have played Bart Allen for a little bit in there.
And then we get Godspeed. We establish a rivalry between Impulse and Godspeed.
Mm-hmm. He's my Reverse Flash.
Which doesn't get expanded upon because, spoiler alert, Godspeed's dealt with at the end of the season by none other than Reverse Flash is back.
The Reverse Flash says, I need to be the one that kills you, not him, so let's beat this guy. Why are you even there?
Because they struck a deal.
Yeah.
Because it was...
Oh, yeah.
Basically, Thawne said... If you don't erase me from the timeline, I will help you fight Godspeed.
Yeah.
And Barry agrees. And then Thawne predictably tries to double cross Barry, and Barry sees it coming.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what? I got faster. Didn't you? Thawne gets dealt with?
Yeah.
Where does he go?
Well, Barry takes his powers from him.
He doesn't do that yet.
Not yet? I thought he does that.
No, Thawne escapes and then creates Reverse Flash.
Oh, yeah. Right. And then we get
season
to
8.
Yeah. And then we get to season 8. Season 8 starts with the weakest crossover, but it's not
the Legends one is the weakest crossover, but this is a 5-parter.
Oh yeah, this is more of a Flash centric because of,
because they couldn't get
because
everybody
Arrow
in.
was over by this point.
Superman departed.
Yeah, Supergirl was over. Superman and Lois said, we're going to be an actual TV show.
So they just got whoever was left.
Right. Which is Jefferson Davis.
Yeah, Black Lightning, which I like that episode a lot.
Yeah. That was the best episode out of this by far.
Yeah.
So Ray's back.
Yep.
I don't even know how Ray's back. But he's back. Well, he's not dead. He just leaves Legends at some point.
Yeah, he just retired.
But then he's back?
Well, he came back for a one-off.
One final hurrah.
Yeah.
He should have came back as what's his name? As Superman. That would have been much better. So yeah, we get the Armageddon crossover. It's Despero. Despero's like, I need to kill. What did Scottish? Going to kill the Flash.
Armageddon's coming, and it's the Flash's fault.
Yeah,
the Flash causes Armageddon.
You stupid idiot, Flash! You're gonna kill us all.
Except it wasn't him.
Yeah, it was the reverse Flash. Some would say it's the reverse.
Because Barry eventually time travels to the future, discovers that Eobard Thawne is the hero of the future.
Yep.
He's the Flash. Barry looks down. He's got the reverse Flash suit on.
They do the Flashpoint thing.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
And then he's like, Thawne, what did you do? You created your own Flashpoint. And he goes,
Some would say it's the reverse.
I created a reverse Flashpoint. Branding.
Such a hater thing to do is just inverse the thing of what you were doing.
At the end of the episode, at the end of the crossover, is when Thawne is being erased for good, and Barry wants to kill Thawne, and Joe's like, don't do it. So Barry figures out a way to keep Thawne alive and remove him as a threat, so he takes his powers. Thawne's like, you should have killed me.
How did he take his powers?
Don't worry though, because Reverse Flash soon becomes the avatar of the Negative Speed Force and becomes Ultimate Reverse Flash.
Yeah, what happens? There's an episode with Bart and Nora. We get a future episode.
Ronnie comes back.
Yep, Ronnie
as
comes
Deathstorm,
but he's not Deathstorm because he's not really back. What else freaking happens in here?
Killer Frost dies.
Yeah. Who was split from Caitlin.
Yep.
I'm not even going to begin to understand. Doesn't make any sense.
Thawne returns.
Somehow Thawne returns.
He does the comic. They do the comic thing where he rips his face in half.
Well, there's another speedster. That speedster's in love with the real Eobard Thawne, but Eobard Thawne's not bad. He's good. He's a good guy now. Good job, Eobard Thawne. You found some love, and that's why you're a good guy. That's all you needed all this time. So yeah, what else happens? We get that's the big things. Those are the big beats.
Yeah.
What about Chillblaine?
I'm not talking about him.
Because he doesn't matter. You see how insignificant Chillblaine is to anything?
Yeah, man. Reverse Flash gets destroyed for good. The Negative Speed Force is going to find a new avatar at some point.
It formalizes in this crystal.
Yep. ...
Season
9.
Season 9. It's the end.
The final run.
I see what you did.
This season's a whole lot of nothing until the last 5 episodes.
Right, exactly. How many episodes was it?
13. So the first 5 are the Red Death. They do the Red Death.
Jesus.
They do the Arrowverse Red Death.
Dude. Oh my god. There's bad, and there's understandable bad, and then there's whatever they did. Look, I actually think the later Batwoman actor was actually solid.
Yeah, Jessica Leslie is great.
Yeah. Not as Red Death, though.
Yeah, no.
I don't think it's her fault.
I think it's the writing's fault.
The lines they were feeding her were
They were just feeding her a bunch of Batman lines.
Right, exactly. She says, I'm vengeance, but I don't know if they were just telling her to joke around on the take.
She does, you want to get nuts?
Yep.
Let's get nuts.
I'm actually in on that one. I'm in.
Yeah, I like that too.
I'm in.
Yeah, so they do the Red Death storyline for 5 episodes. It's not great.
Nope.
She gets packed up at the end by regular Batwoman.
And rogues.
And rogues.
Just another Wednesday. God.
And then honestly, 6, 7, and 8, there's not a lot going on here. I couldn't tell you one interesting thing that happens in 6, 7, and 8, to be honest. Season 9, episode 9, we talked about. Oliver Queen returns for one final mission.
Because Barry dies.
Yeah.
While he killed, because Keenan Longsdale can't ever do anything Kid Flash related, so they just have him kill Barry, and that's it. Oh my god.
Yeah.
At least he was back.
Yeah, Stephen Amell.
Yeah.
Stephen Amell returns. It's a great. We talked about it. It's a great send off.
It's just the best of. It's what this whole universe was held up upon was Oliver and Barry, and just their two interactions. It's just like now this is like fully realized. Like Justice League has been around forever. Like Batman and Superman. Like Clark and Bruce. Like it's Oliver and Barry. You're right.
There's also new Caitlin.
Who's a god?
Who's a goddess. Oliver explains that she, like him, is a fundamental force of the universe.
Why?
Dunno. And then we get into the final 4 episodes, which 3 out of the 4 are really great. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, the one that's not great is the finale itself. So, man, we get in the beginning of the episode, Eddie Thawne is back. Rick Costnet returns.
I kind of had a feeling they were going to do the Cobalt Blue thing as soon as he came back.
Yeah. And Eddie returns. A man resembling Eddie Thawne. We don't know it's Eddie Thawne, but he's struck by lightning. The cool thing that happens in this first episode is we go back to
this is it,
the night that Barry's mother's murdered.
Just like that episode from season 2, like the reverse flash. It's like this is it. This is the
we finally came full circle, which I thought was really cool.
Man, just seeing him like in the season 9 suit, telling like season 1 Barry, like no, like you can't do this. It's just,
I loved it. I love that they brought it all the way back around. It was really, really cool.
I just think that should have been the season finale of this show.
Probably, yeah. We get to all that. Eddie gets struck by lightning. He wakes up. He's finding out who he is. He finds out that he's Eddie Thawne.
Yep.
And that the negative speed force brought him back to life to basically become the Avatar, the new Avatar. The negative speed force shows Eddie all these visions of the life he could have had with Iris, and
they put a horrible wig on Nora. I don't think that's how blonde hair works, but okay.
No. He realizes that he is Eddie Thawne. He pulls the bullet from his chest, and he's like, I'm me. I'm him.
I'm him. But what if I were a speedster?
Yeah, Barry finally runs into him because the negative speed force is porting Barry throughout the timeline.
Right, yep.
Trying to kill him and his friends. But finally Barry runs into Eddie, and Eddie's like, you stole my life.
Yeah.
Because Eddie goes to Iris in the future, and he's like, I'm back. I'm back, baby.
Yeah.
30 years on,
too
but
late.
I'm back.
Yeah.
And Iris is like, I'm married. I have kids.
Who are you married to?
Get lost. She says to him, and that sends Eddie into a spiral.
But Eddie, look, all I'm saying, Eddie might be a little right. Eddie said so.
Also, good performance.
Yeah. I think I think he did a good job.
I'm glad he came back.
Right. I think this arc would have been better served. And I think if they were going to do all this, they should have flipped season 8 and season 9 and done Cobalt Blue in season 8 and then had Reverse Flash end the show. But, beggars can't be choosers. So Eddie's
embraces the
darkness.
Speed force.
Yeah. You can't lock up the darkness. Speaking of you can't lock up the darkness, season finale time.
Series finale.
This is it. So I actually had like a visceral reaction watching this. I was like, holy crap. I remember watching the season premiere of this show like in 2014. Like, this is nuts. Like, it's been.
You want to get nuts?
Nope. It's been 9 years of this. Like, this is insane that this is like, it's 2023 and like I started watching this show like 8.5 years ago, and this is it. It's over.
Yeah.
So yeah, they start out, obviously it's the same, going through the clouds. He's doing his thing. And then
need you to believe in the impossible.
Yep. And then Eddie Thawne's like, hey, y'all. And then who's the first person he gets?
Zoom.
Okay, so he gets Zoom, right? And then you're Teddy Sears from season 2.
Yeah, so
Zoom's back. We didn't even talk about the 100th episode with Barry and Nora. Good stuff. What happens? It's the play the hits.
But now we're playing the hits again.
Yeah, but villains this time.
Yeah.
So yeah,
he brings Zoom back.
Yep.
Godspeed's back.
So no, do it in order. So it's
that
Zoom.
Is the order.
Nope, it's Zoom, and then it's Godspeed.
Yeah.
And then Godspeed's like, I'm the god of speed, and then Sabotage.
No, because then Thawne shows up.
Oh yeah, and Thawne's just like, look at me.
He's like, Zoom, you suck.
Yeah, he's like, Zoom, you suck. Eddie Thawne, you're nobody. You're POS.
Well, we don't get to Eddie yet, because Zoom shows up, then Godspeed, then Thawne shows up, and he calls Zoom a drug addict.
Oh, yeah, you Velocity 9 junked up junkie. Can't do anything.
And Godspeed's just angry.
Yeah, Godspeed's just mad.
He's like, I'm the god of speed.
And then Savitar shows up and just like, no, I'm the god of speed.
With his theme song.
Yeah. That's all he does.
And then
you know Barry's in there, right? I think that's hilarious, the fact that Barry's in there.
And then Eddie shows up and he's like, I've done this. I've brought you all here.
Yeah, look.
You couldn't kill the Flash on your own, but together we can kill the Flash. So they confront Barry and they're like, look at us. Look at all the villains from all the seasons. And Barry's like, you may be all the villains from the previous seasons, but I have a team.
Yeah, I have a team.
And then Barry says, execute Delta maneuvers for some reason.
I feel so bad for Grant Gustin, man. Like, from the bottom, like, he does not deserve this, man.
Like, you had a visceral reaction to, like, the finale in general. I had a visceral reaction to execute Delta maneuvers. So, like, where did that come from?
That was nuts.
Like, you guys have never been in the field together.
Yeah, yep. Cecile has a super suit now.
Like, that group has never been in the field together enough to execute Delta maneuvers.
Okay, so if I were to erase your memory, right? Like that episode in season 3 of The Flash. If I were to erase your memory and say, what do you think that the end team would have been? Because in my mind, I thought they were for sure going to try to do the OG Flash Rebirth thing where it's like all the Flashes running at the same time when Barry comes back. Who do you think that team would have been?
Realistically, probably Barry.
Okay.
Wally.
Okay.
Jay.
Yep.
Cisco.
Yep.
Caitlin.
Sure. And probably...
And maybe Jesse.
I would probably also add, like, as a package deal, Nora and Bart.
Nora and Bart, yeah.
Okay. I can probably live if you cut out Jesse.
Yeah.
That's fine. And then I could probably live if you cut out Cisco and Caitlin. Like, if it's all speedsters, cool. To go up against all 5 of them speedsters, good. Guess what team we got? We get buried, and Nora comes back. Okay. Yep. We get Chillblaine. We get
Allegra.
We get Allegra.
Yep.
We get Cecile.
Yep.
And we get Keone.
Yeah. Who's Caitlin?
Yep. That's the team that's gonna... this is it. This is the series finale of this entire show.
And what's even better is how they pair these guys off. So they pair off Barry and Eddie to fight each other,
right.
Obviously.
This is it. Yep.
They pair off Nora and Savitar, which you would think...
It's good because who's in that suit? That's her father that's evil in that suit.
Too bad you'd never know it.
Never know it.
They pair off Cecile and Godspeed, for some reason.
And then
they pair off Allegra and Thawne.
Because Nash was her mentor.
Yeah, they kind of kick save that a little bit. Thawne kick save that.
I'm wearing the face of your mentor.
And then they pair off Zoom with the Central City Police, Chillblaine, and Keone. Because I don't know if you know this about Zoom, but he's real good at
cops.
He's real good at killing cops.
Some more cops for me to kill. I said, what's happening?
What happened to you, Zoom?
What happened, man?
Why are you so mad? Why are you so mad at cops?
Yeah. You can't lock up the darkness. He just says it.
You can't lock up the darkness. And then he starts doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And then Keone's just like, nah.
So he's running in a circle.
Yeah.
And then with his lightning.
Shoots a
lightning bolt.
Shinko Hadouken.
Yep.
Lightning bolt.
Yep.
At Keone, and she just like.
Yep. Absorbs
Boom.
it, shoots it right back at him. And then
folds him.
And that's it.
Yep. So packs up Godspeed.
She doesn't touch him.
Nope. Mind powers.
Just Charles Xavier's him like 85 times.
Allegra defeats the Reverse Flash.
Just punch. What does she do? Like that little floor
she does like a...
Yeah.
She does like a shockwave EMP thing.
That's it.
Savitar stabs Nora.
And Nora's phasing through it, and she breaks off the piece, which obviously they did that bit already in season 3.
Stabs him in the back.
And that's it.
Yep.
Just... Man.
And that's pretty much it for them. They all get dealt with. Eddie absorbs them back. Yep. He absorbs all their powers.
I need more speed.
Takes Barry... Well, Barry meets him the negative speed force, and Eddie beats the brakes off of Barry.
Like, holy crap.
They do a really cool bit. I told you about this, where Eddie's punching Barry, and it flashes back to season 1.
Yeah, yep.
When Reverse Flash is pummeling Barry. And he's like, I'm the hero of this story. That Barry's like...
I can't make another Reverse Flash, Eddie. Like, I can't have this.
Yeah, like... You become the one thing you swore to destroy.
Right.
Well, the one thing you did destroy.
Yeah, you did.
So they
Barry does the thing.
they come to an agreement.
Barry said, "I'm not going to fight you. Remember who you are. I'm King T'Challa." So yeah,
they shake hands.
Yeah, they shake hands, and Eddie's just like, "I'm going to stay here. I'm going to live an eternity in hell."
Yeah, I'll be the negative Speed Force. You be the positive Speed Force, and we'll just have a good time.
Yeah, that's the Flash.
Basically.
They have a nice little bit at the end. So Nora's born at the end. Iris has her child. Nora holds Nora in a real meta moment.
Don't like it.
Yeah,
she shouldn't do that.
She does not do. And they even say it. They're like, Nora like looks up and she's just like, should I probably not be here for the birth of myself? And like all of them are like, yeah, it's
Harrison
fine.
Wells shows back up.
Yeah,
Real Harrison Wells, the timeless Wells, the time traveling Wells.
Oh my god, I don't.
He shows back up to get Keone. He's like, all right,
It's time.
it's time to go. She goes, and then
Caitlin's just back.
yeah, Caitlin returns.
Somehow Caitlin returns.
Somehow Caitlin returned.
Cisco's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, Carlos Valdez scheduling conflict
conflicts.
couldn't make it.
Scheduling conflict. AKA, keep me out of this dog water of a show.
Grant Gustin apparently got COVID
Yeah.
while this finale was going to be filmed. Like, apparently he said there was going to be scenes between him and Zoom, which never happened, obviously.
He faked COVID to make sure that he didn't have to do more scenes.
And then, yeah, Barry tells Nora a story about believing the impossible, yada yada. And then he throws the lightning into the air like a javelin, and it strikes
He's like, I need to share this power.
three individuals.
Max Mercury.
He's back.
They should have done this a while ago.
You didn't think Mercury Labs was going to come back.
But it did.
Jess Chambers.
Just Chambers, yep.
And Amy Ho.
Yep. Good job.
You're the Flash now.
Yeah, you're all the Flashes.
And that's kind of how the show ended.
Joe sang. Are
Joe
they
sang.
singing?
He sang a little bit. It's just, one of those things. We talk about this all the time. Series finales are very hard to land. Some shows make it look easy.
I mean, Succession and Barry both ended 2 days ago with I watched the Barry season finale, absolutely phenomenal, and from all intents and purposes what I've been hearing about Succession, also an incredible they stuck the landing, and like obviously that's two different echelons of qualities of shows, but still.
Well, I mean, even network TV wise, like we talked, I think Arrow ended up on a really, really great note.
Even Stargirl ended pretty solid for what they had to deal with, because it was like for them. I think it was pretty abrupt, their ending. So
I mean, and this, I think they just got away from what made season 1 and 2 so good.
Well, I said it. It's like season 1, 2, and 3. Like, obviously, like I said, the showrunner switched. Like, it's the penance they had to pay for season 4 to season 8, and obviously, like, there's the two major things that happened were the pandemic happened, so your season had to cut itself off. You might need to get different writers. Different things were happening. People leave shows. That's just how life works. So, like, Carlos Valdez leaves, like, all these characters that you fell in love with. But, I mean, at the end of the day, the biggest thing that it's a writing issue. Like, once season 4 hit, I just feel like they got complacent off of what they were doing. I also will give them the benefit of the doubt. That was season 4. They were running 6 shows once season 4 hit. It was Supergirl, it was Arrow, Supergirl, Arrow, Flash, Legends, Black Lightning, and Batwoman, and then you were getting a Superman show in development. That's 7 shows. You know how much budget that takes. Like, I don't think they were obviously you have Warner Brothers as your parent company, but you know how much money you're probably spending, and you're doing these massive crossover. Like, they did Crisis on Infinite. Like, how much money are you doing to try to get these crossovers made? Yeah,
it's ambitious, and it's it like we said, it doesn't get enough credit for the universe that it put on TV. And then it's just, I just feel like the direction of the show and the what's the word I'm looking for? Like, the priorities kind of changed.
Yeah. Like, Cecile became a series regular, which
they wanted to build out the ensemble. Whereas, like I said in the beginning of when we talked about season 1, it was just Barry.
Yeah.
And then
all the other street, like Jesse she's being trained by Barry. Wally was being trained. Wally West is, one of the most classic characters. Like, these people and Jay Garrick, like, they still had everything to do with Barry. Like, Barry still took the priority. Like, watching season 4 after, it felt like, I don't know, like this weird, like, sitcom-y, like, it just, all the things that they had to do to gain credibility for 1, 2, and 3 just got thrown out the window. And I mean, that's when a lot of people stopped watching the show after season 4. Like, once season 5 hit, a lot of people, like, left the show because they said, what's the point? Like, this is just, this is not a Flash show anymore. Like, it has the Flash character in it, but it's just this weird, like, one thing I will say about Legends is Legend understood the assignment. Like, they embraced all the weirdness, and they kind of made this pretty fun, cool show. Like, I think they just got away from every bit of what made those first 3 seasons special. Yeah. And I think Grant Gustin suffers the most, because Grant Gustin, and I cannot stress this enough, through the entire run of this show is the only consistent piece that does not change. Yeah. And he's incredible the whole time. Yeah. Yeah. And Tom Cavanaugh.
They're both outstanding. Man, it's it's gonna be weird not having any of these shows going forward. Yeah, now that they're all done.
Because Superman and Lois feel so much different from what these shows ever did. Yeah. So it's insane. It's like, at the same time as I say that, I mean, at the same time, hats off. Like, you guys still, like, 9 seasons of a television show is unheard of. Like, How many shows ran for not, like, that isn't like General Hospital or something, like, how many shows, like, of this narrative base run for this long? Like, they don't. Most shows get axed after the pilot, let alone to season 1.
And then the universe, when you talk about the universe as a whole, Arrow got 8 seasons, The Flash got 9 seasons, Supergirl got 6 seasons, Legends got 7 seasons, Black Lightning got 4 seasons, Batwoman got 3 seasons. So that's damn near 30 seasons of television between this one shared universe. Yep.
They crossed over with the 90s Flash. They crossed over with the gosh darn DC extended universe. Like, they were taking the most massive of swings, and, like, I can't commend you enough for doing that. Like, some studio, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. notoriously did not do that. They said, we're not touching these, like, we can't touch these movies. Like, the Arrowverse said, who cares? Like, we can do whatever we want, essentially. Titans is canon to that universe now, like, and I mean, they did Crisis on Infinite Earths, like, they did the crossover, like, they did the biggest DC crossover and possibly the biggest comic crossover of all time, and it was pretty solid. It was pretty fun. So, and that's the Flash. And I can't believe it's over. I know. I too stopped watching that show. I couldn't pull myself, and I mean, the Daredevil was picking it. So I was like, I had these 2 superhero shows, and one was like this incredible grounded superhero show, and the other one had them go back to the 90s to fight a force of the Still Force that was basically Will Smith. Yeah. And I was like, I'm just gonna pick Daredevil, I think, if this is the show. But and, like, even the shows in the own universe, like Black Lightning was getting pretty good. Like, all those other shows were like, but they just weren't getting as ludicrous as the Flash was. So, man, I hope to see Grant Gustin one day. Maybe he'll play Henry Allen in 20 years.
And it had even the later seasons had the bones of what made that show really great.
There was still good, like, season 4 had a great episode, and, like, there still were, like, bits and pieces of the cloud. Like, I did quite enjoy the whole Nora and Thawne arc in season 5. Like, even the Eddie stuff in season 9 was pretty solid. Like, we got the payoff to the night of Nora Allen's death. Like, all these things that happened. So yeah. Man, remember when in the season finale, like, they showed up, Nora and Henry. Well, I mean, it's the Speed Force and Jay Garrick, but still.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy that, and I hope he does come back in some form or fashion. Whatever that looks like, I don't know. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. That's gonna do it for us.
We gotta get out of here.
We gotta go, man. Yeah. Follow us on Twitter at @ProjectINF_pod. Follow us on Facebook. New episodes of the podcast are posted every Wednesday on your favorite podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, whatever you use. You can follow us on Instagram
at the Project Infinite Pod.
And then next week, Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
the sequel to what people say is the greatest superhero movie of all time, if not one of.
They must have not saw Morbius.
They must have not saw Fast X. I legitimately can't wait for this movie.
Yeah. It's just, we're gonna see this movie in like 3 days. I just can't.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that, and then I hope you guys like movie reviews, because we're probably hitting you with like one a week.
Yeah, for the next
until
6 weeks.
Until like August.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got this. We got Transformers coming, The Flash, Indiana Jones.
Yep. Literally week.
Yeah.
It's Cross the Spider-Verse, and then Transformers, The Flash, Indiana Jones, something after that. But that Barbie Oppenheimer episode is gonna just.
I still don't know we're gonna have to figure out the.
We're gonna have to do them together. That's the only way that seems fit.
Yeah,
it's got to be in the same episode we do both.
But until then,
it's gonna be, instead of doing the categories, we're gonna have a versus, and we're gonna do the categories, but we have to pick which one we had was better.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good.
From me,
careful, man. Careful, man.
From the Barry Allen of the podcast.
Yes.
Believe in the impossible.
Man, I love that show for the longest time.
For better or for worse. Man, just a great experience.
Yeah. Hats off to you, Grant Gustin. You are you're my Flash.
Yeah.
You were my Flash growing up, and now I'm an adult. And it's one thing that was really cool. He was 25 playing a 25-year-old. You don't see that ever. So he really grew up with that role. And I loved how much different but the same he was from season 1 to season 9. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be weird not having any Arrowverse related things. Yeah. So,
but now we have all these Disney Plus shows.
Yeah. But we'll see you next week, guys, for Across the Spider-Verse. It's gonna be a good time. Goodbye.
Peace.